What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of No Neutral, where we discuss all things Street Fighter V, Street Fighter VI, potentially.
Come on, man.
CPT related. You know how we do it around here. I'm Brian F. I'm joined with, this guy here in this fancy studio with this fancy lighting. No one that important, actually. We can just move on without any intros. It doesn't even matter, really.
Know what I'm saying? Brian?
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm feeling great. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And, honestly, it's not really fancy lighting, man. It's just like, for some reason, when I walk into a room, everywhere I walk, this, light just kind of, straight from the heavens shines down on me. I think it's the waves or the muscles or something like that, Brian. But moving on. We got more pressing matters.
Just that perfect overhead lighting at all times. If only we were all so blessed, Rob. But that said, we have to give a big shout out, of course, to Capcom Japan and all the fans tuning in from Japan. Thanks so much for tuning in to No Neutral CPT event after CPT event. We always appreciate the support. That said, we have a big event coming up today, but before we get into all of that, we have some things to discuss. First off, leading with the World Warrior updates, and we have a couple of regions we want to focus in on today because there's so much action going in all over the world. Tons of events, tons of players competing to earn their right into the regional finals to compete for the spot for the Capcom Cup. So first off, one we want to highlight, let's get into Canada East.
You know what makes me excited, man? The last event that they had, you know who won?
Oh yeah, I know.
The guy, the one, the only, built like Brock Lesnar, the absolute perfection, the king of Twitter, Brutus, and he did it with Zangief. You want to talk about a character you don't see anymore.
It's interesting to see him go back to the Zangief after I feel like every grappler main has been having an identity crisis. Do I play Abigail? Do I play this or that? And he's played both Abigail and Geef, but he finally gets the win with the Season 1, the original main, the Zangief. I think it's just a thing of beauty, especially considering, let's be honest, his region is filled with bad matchups. Silver Rupee with a nasty Ed, who he actually had a great first to 10 with on sets, going to the final game, final round. Listen, Zangief, maybe he's not as relevant anymore, but I'm telling you, you'll still one day wake up in a cold sweat, not really knowing what was that, and it's the whisper of that SPD into Oki. I'm telling you, Zangief, still terrifying to this day. He gets that one command grab, and it doesn't matter how weak he was up until that moment. When he gets that one command grab, he is the best character in the game, and you cannot deny it, and neither can Brutus's opponents, because he gets that command grab and he makes it work.
I like how you said it. You get that random whisper, that cold sweat. And the next region that we're highlighting here, Brian, is of course France.
This region has been so stacked with players. I feel like when coming Street Fighter 4 times, we had Luffy doing a lot of work internationally, and there's a lot of other strong French players. But in Street Fighter 5, I feel like France has become one of the premier regions. We talk about USA a lot, we talk about Japan, we talk about UK, we talk about even Dominican Republic. France is in that conversation for one of the best regions in the world, period. And the thing that's surprising about that, the reason I'm setting that up, is because we're not seeing exactly the results you might expect up until this point. We have a couple upsets. Valmaster is currently leading the charge in terms of points for the World Warrior program with his phenomenal Chun-Li player. He was actually, towards the end of Street Fighter 4, one of maybe the Chun-Li. He was definitely a standout Chun-Li on a global scale, but didn't really compete too much until later seasons of Street Fighter 5. Then I'm going to jump to third, Luffy. Luffy in third.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's wild. And I'm skipping second on purpose to set up the storyline here. Killzyu, who we've seen do really well in all these CPT events, nearly taking it over Daigo at EVO and getting his top 8 winner side EVO spot, just barely missing out. Maybe a choke. I don't know how you want to look at it. It was super close. I feel like he's been one of the young players on the scene doing work. He's down there in the 6th place position. Akainu, another consistent representative from France, in 7th. In Mr. Crimson, he's staying out of it. He said, I'm not going to gatekeep because Mr. Crimson is such a good guy. But the biggest surprise here, Freya Wanmei. Freya in 2nd place currently in the standings with Nash.
Come on. What? Hold on. What did you just say? You said what character?
Nash. I didn't stutter.
Oh my God.
It was Nash. You did not mishear me. Nash in 2nd place in France. Now look, we've kind of leaned on the, oh my God, Nash in a tournament doing well a handful too many times here on this show, because we've seen Nash worldwide doing work, but we haven't seen Nash do work in a region that's been established for a long time. Let's be real.
Great point.
A region that we've seen on a global scale for a long time. We haven't seen someone who we hadn't heard of previously, or hadn't seen a lot of rise up in a region where there's like just names that to see Freya come by and get not only a lot of points with good placings, a second place finish, a fifth and a fifth, but also a win. The last World Warrior event for France, Freya actually took that with Nash over all the players we just mentioned. It really goes to show that if you keep searching, you will find surprising results all over the world. And honestly, at this point, I can't call what this region is going to shape up like. We would have said maybe Luffy's going to take that spot. We would have said maybe Valmaster, maybe Akainu. But now Freya's in here taking W's. I really can't call who's going to qualify out of this region, but I'm really excited to see who will.
And you talk about regions that have been established for quite some time, just like France. We have to bring up this next one, bro. Central America East, which in this case includes Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. I just want to list off some of the names that are in this top 8. We have Louis Man, Mono, Kaba, Hermes Benatori, G, Roy, Ajax Fidelity. We just saw Ajax Fidelity 3-0 in L. Have you done that, viewer? You know what I'm saying? Have you done that before?
I thought you were about to ask me. I was going to say no. But we'll let the chat answer that.
Listen, I ain't done that. So Ajax Fidelity, an extremely strong young upstart with that Ed. Crossover, been around for a while, putting in work down there in DR. And Brian D, come on, man. And Brian D rounding it out. I mean, how strong is his guy? We've seen him consistently in top 8s in the CPTs in this region. We've seen him make grand finals, and I feel like he's due for a big breakthrough. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one to win this World Warrior. And from all these amazing players that we just listed, do you know a player who's also in this region that I didn't mention yet? Like, I think the whole point of World Warrior is to qualify for Capcom Cup, and someone already qualified, and I think that was Mena RD. He's not even entering in these right now. Just like Mr. Crimson, he's choosing not to gatekeep or be in the way of any of his countrymen or different players in his region. He's letting them fight it out. But just the fact that he's there as well atop this region just goes to show how deep this is. This is one of the toughest regions in the world, and their World Warrior events have been delivering. And with us bringing up Mena RD, someone who is a legend in the making, I gotta bring up someone who is already a legend. I don't even know if that's a strong enough word for what we have for you today, for who we have for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an interview with none other than Young Art, NYC Furby, Team Spooky's very own.
Yeah, how you doing? How you doing, guys? Really happy to be here. I know Neutral. I think it's my first time on the broadcast. You guys been doing like an amazing job, just boosting, keeping Street Fighter V like alive and relevant, and keeping the viewers interested so far. And I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, and also we know you're hot off the heels of doing big things with Defend the North, running a very successful event. So before we get into all the details about your very storied history with Street Fighter and just Capcom fighting games at large, congratulations. That was honestly a great event to watch. I know the players really enjoyed it. So I know you were stressing a little bit about building up Defend the North and all the goodies you had for the players there. So congrats on running that. I
couldn't be more proud of the tech team that was assembled for Defend the North to make that happen. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say like it was all me. I'm only as good as my team. So shout out to the entire staff at Defend the North.
All right, so I brought up your history when it came to the intro, and that's something that I want to immediately get into. You've been around for so long, man, and you've put in so much work. But what even got you into this fighting game stuff in the first place?
Oh man, like, it's literally like I'm 5 years old. I'm going to a VHS rental video shop. VHS, yeah. Right?
Damn.
I'm sitting on the stool playing Street Fighter 1. My dad gives me $1 and says, like, I'll be back in a couple of hours. Have fun. Right? That's literally how it started for me.
Not even Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 1. Yeah.
Yes, God.
Street Fighter 1. Wow. Like, the number of people who have even played that game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That's a tiny portion of people. I have never seen Street Fighter 1 in the wild ever. I think almost anyone, at least 27 or older, 26 or older, has seen Street Fighter 2 in the wild somewhere. That was everywhere. But Street Fighter 1, could you do a Shoryuken back then?
So I was the annoying kid. Like, I was asking like all the older guys, like, hey, how you do that move? And they were like, I'm not telling you, kid, right? Back in the day when internet wasn't really commonplace back then. Like, I mean, I had it because I was lucky because my dad was a university professor, but you couldn't really find out any info on moves for the most part. And bonus points if you played on the original Street Fighter 1 with pressure buttons. I played on the 6 button one. The one with pressure buttons, the one by Atari, that's the original one. I never played on that as a kid.
What you mean by pressure button?
Right. So you didn't know about that, Rob?
Didn't know about that, yeah.
Man.
So there's a Street Fighter 1. There's two versions of Street Fighter 1. One, I think, was published by Atari, and instead of the jab strong fierce, you press the button harder for jab strong fierce. So it's like you hold it down.
What the hell?
It was ahead of its time, man.
Instead of 3 buttons, it's depending on how long you hold it. So medium punch, you hold it for like a medium amount of time.
Basically, but like there was that one, and then there was the traditional 6-button one.
There's an alternate universe where Art played on the pressure-sensitive one, and he's not here today.
Yeah.
It depends on that VHS store, right? Because they had the 6-button one, we have Art here today. But wow, that's wild. Starting with Street Fighter 1, I didn't know that. I figured it would have been Street Fighter 2. So Street Fighter 1, that's what you started with. And there's other fighting games. Well, actually, no, there's not really. It's Street Fighter 1. So what's the next game you get into? Is it Street Fighter 2 that hits the scene? It's
weird. There were some fighting games around back then, but they tended to be hybrid because there was there was side scrollers / fighting games, right? So Street Fighter 1 was 1987, right? So there's like a 5-6 year gap between Street Fighter 1 and 2, right? So then Street Fighter 2 came out. That just changed everything.
You gotta set the scene. So where are you when you first see Street Fighter 2? Like, you've been hanging around in the arcades. You're in New York. So where are you the day you see Street Fighter 2? What is the scene like?
I'm in the same video and rental and bodega shops, right? But instead of there being one cabinet, it's times 10, and it's everywhere. See, people don't. If you weren't around during the Street Fighter 2 era, the cultural impact of it, although, the games these days, they sell a lot more. The cultural impact of the game at the time could not be understated. Literally everywhere you went, Street Fighter.
Not just FGC people,
not just FGC. Just in general. Not just FGC, just straight up, just gamers.
We still feel the vibrations of that today, man. You see all the merch and everything. I know we talked about that a bit. But even then, going back, if you listen to music, how many just random from late 90s
bro, even battle rap
you hear
even
for Street
battle
Fighter
rap
2?
to this day, everybody when someone makes a bar up, they always reference a Street Fighter 2 character.
It was contemporary at the time, right? You go back, listen to the library music from that time, you hear it all the time, and it's part of the culture that's been cemented. So it can't be understated. It was everywhere. I'm from South Florida. We didn't really have, arcades like that, bodegas, but you go to any random sports bar, I would still see Street Fighter 2 there. That's what I first mashed buttons on, was what's this game? It was everywhere you went, and so you couldn't avoid it. No matter where you were in USA, Street Fighter 2 was there.
Were you? Did you play a tournament into? Did you play any tournaments in Street Fighter 2?
So here's the interesting thing. So although I was too young to go to tournaments at the time, because Street Fighter 2 was out, I was 11, right? But number one, I still had access to the internet, so there were these things. There were these things that were precursors to forums, and there were these things that were precursors to Discord, right? It was called Usenet, right? And actually, the founders of the Evo Championship Series actually used these discussion boards with other college nerds to discuss Street Fighter, right? We used to send tournaments to each other over VHS. We would copy a VHS and mail it to the homie for $20-$30. That's how good people have it.
But by copy the VHS, you mean someone filmed the arcade cab, right?
Yes,
someone sitting there with a camera. Yes. Direct to VHS.
Mm-hmm. So that's how I found out about the tournaments, right? And also, the gaming magazines at the time, Electronic Gaming Monthly and GamePro, they did have tournament coverage. They did cover the players in tournaments. That's how I learned about Mike Watson, Tomo Ohira, Jeff Schaefer, Alex Valle, all of those guys. Those guys were all in the magazines because they're a generation before me. I'm kind of at the tail end of old school.
Who are you using it to?
So when I first played 2, like I couldn't do a fireball on both sides, so I picked up Guile because like the sonic booms were just, it was just holding back and forth, and I'm like, damn, I can't do a fireball.
It didn't have anything to do with the playstyle though, since you're a Dawson player now. It wasn't like
it had nothing to do with the playstyle. It had nothing to do with the playstyle. It was just the fact that like I was starting like everybody else. Like I didn't know how to do inputs.
And you had limited time to practice, right? Because at the time, right, there's no training mode. You don't have a copy of the game at home. You got to pay money each time to play against another human, or maybe I guess if you find a dead hour of the night, which I feel like in the beginning you couldn't find that.
Yeah, at the beginning you couldn't find it. At the beginning you couldn't find it, and like the move sets, it's like we go to the library. We would print out move sets from the internet in text form, like at the library.
That's
right?
Fire, bro. That's so fire.
Pulling together all your resources you possibly can. That's still wild to me that you say you're on the internet back then. This is 92?
Yeah, this is 92. Yeah. So this this is precursor World Wide Web. The web did not exist.
Right.
Okay, so when us talking about Street Fighter 2, it also makes me think about like, I feel like everyone talks about Street Fighter 4. As far as the third strike time when it comes to the FGC, people only say like, oh, stuff almost died, and then Street Fighter 4 came out and saved everything. What was that time like where stuff almost died? Like, were you invested enough in fighting games?
Yeah.
At that point
so like that was the time. That was one of the times where I was invested in the FGC the most, right? Because when people mention the dark days, it's not that like fighting game scene died or anything. Like they were still alive and kicking. It just died like out of the out of like the general culture, right? We talked about how Street Fighter 2 had a huge cultural impact, and people that weren't even playing fighting games are playing Street Fighter 2. With Street Fighter 3, it had none of that. It was just the diehard. It was just completely the diehard. Right. So it's not that it died. It just died. Like it just died in popular culture, right? So it's still going on all these years. Like obviously like the Daigo moment, the Daigo Justin moment happened. That was amazing, and that happened during the Dark Era. The only thing that basically changed was we weren't getting an influx of new players into the scene, right? And the players that were the players that were vested in it, they were vested in it for over 5-10 years. We didn't get any relative new games from any of the big party publishers, especially not Capcom, until Street Fighter 4 came out. So that's what they mean by the Dark Ages.
So it was stagnant. It wasn't that it wasn't there. It was the things were stagnant, which, obviously that's something we discuss a lot. Like you always look towards the influx of new players, and that's the thing we highlight often. Anytime a new player is doing work in the tournament scene, I feel like it's super important to highlight, because you always want new blood in the scene that shows growth for the scene. We haven't talked about Team Spooky yet, and you're part of that, and how that was formed prior to Street Fighter 4, right?
Yes.
So you guys, let us know, like, when was that starting to form, and how the stage was set for you guys to capitalize on streaming once Street Fighter 4 became a thing.
So this is such a good question. So this all formulated. This all came together during the dark days, right? So this is during Street Fighter 3 Third Strike era, before Street Fighter 4 was even out, right? Me and Vic are homies through a mutual friend, right? We had started collabing together as like a team, and we had started learning like how to record footage and capture footage from events like during that Dark Ages period. I want to say 2006 to 2007, right? Yeah, so like it all culminated into me ending up going to Japan, seeing how the Japanese scene is before Street Fighter 4 comes out, and like and then ever since then, like that gave us the early knowledge that we needed to actually learn how to stream tournaments and stuff. This is all before Street Fighter 4.
Okay. So at that time when you went to Japan, you said that was 2007.
2000. So I went there 2006, 2007. So I went there multiple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When was the first like rumors, like something that the air had changed, like the temperature was rising a little bit? There were some tingles, some hairs on the back of your neck raising. When did you first catch the rumors that Capcom was coming back with something big? Like, when did that start? 2008, it hit arcades in Japan.
Yeah,
but
so
I actually don't know when the rumors began. There had to be rumors first.
It was like, I want to say like it was like around like the beta time when Street Fighter 4 just came out. I think like around like E3 time, like in 2008, like around that year. Because I remember they started talking about it at E3. There was some early builds shown around by like Seth Killian, I believe. And I remember that year it was at EVO, but they had only the arcade version. So they had the red Felix cabinet, right? They brought the red Felix cabinet to EVO, right? And we all got to play it that year. At first, like the reaction was like a little mixed. Like, whenever there's like a new game that comes out, especially one that's been around for like, there's been a new game in like 10 years, there's going to be mixed reactions in the scene. But obviously, once it came out, the general vibe, like just not even in the FGC, outside the FGC, was just absurd. I remember as soon as it came out in arcades, I went to EVO that year, and I went to Japan that year because I documented a lot of year one of Japanese Street Fighter 4. I remember being in Japan, there were like 10 you go to any arcade, it'd be like 10 cabinets. You have to wait like on a line just to actually play. Back at home in Chinatown Fair, I remember reading stories because we were all trading information through the internet and YouTube back then. It's 2009, right? So they're telling me stories like about how Henry got like one cabinet. The waiting list was like 100 people just to play Street Fighter 4 in one cabinet. Like, I was like, wow, like, this is 1991 all over again. This is crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Street Fighter 4, everything is booming. We're back from the dark ages.
Booming in a crazy way. Remember, this when streaming first started. There was no streams.
So okay, so that's your first experience.
It all kind of peaked.
Yeah,
it kind of peaked too, because like he mentioned, like, you know, Team Spooky was coming together. You guys learned the technology. It sounds like right before. I wasn't sure when you guys kind of started getting into streaming. It sounds like right before Street Fighter 4. And this is before Twitch was a thing. You know, YouTube was still in its infancy. Online streaming didn't even exist. So you guys like, it all kind of lined up. But what it was interesting you just mentioned was that the scene didn't know how big it was going to be.
No,
it sounds like you guys. Sounds like the hardcore people were like, we're gonna wait and see. Capcom's coming back. All right. I mean, you've been gone a long time, Capcom. you know, like they didn't sound too confident or like just hype. But then when you saw the reaction, what was next? Like, you saw the reaction, you saw that people outside the FGC are getting in.
So obviously the hardcore tournament scene is a microcosm of what's happening, like, for the game, like, as a whole with casual players, right? Mm-hmm. So what I started seeing, like, immediately, right, was tournament registration going up, way up, right? Like, I'll start playing in like 4 to 5 tournaments a week in the New York area, no problem, right? Like, it was a tournament like every day, everywhere you went. You started seeing, like, you know, obviously there was a GameStop national tournament, right, where like they flew out EO, Justin Wong, right, like, and like it just flew in like a ton of talent, right? You started seeing like the first sponsorships in the FGC, right? You started seeing more international competition on a regular basis, because at that time, one of the things that was holding the FGC back was we didn't get to see international talent play all the time because nobody was sponsored back then, right? So
yeah, that was an interesting time. That the GameStop event really kind of set the pace for Street Fighter 4 as being more like esports, right?
Yeah, it's so crazy to think about. I was like, wow.
Bro, so for you even using that word, Brian, I'm glad you even said that, like esports. What I do want to ask about is, like, in 4, that was the last time before I feel like, you know, things were as big. You didn't have Street Fighter League, the cameras and stuff wasn't as nice, right? Things were a bit different back then. Do you prefer the FGC as it is now with more opportunities, or do you prefer how it was before when it was more dark and more niche?
It's such a hard question. It's like, because, like, you know, I feel like there's great stuff to both sides. You never want to go too far in one direction, though. You want to borrow the best parts of both, I think, right? So obviously, like with esports, you want that financial support, you want the big lights, like you want like the international competition, you want the player talent, you want the endemic and non-endemic brands like involved, right? All that is great. Like it helps give the game a level of legitimacy that was not seen before. At the same time, like, so from the grassroots side, obviously, like, you want that realness, and you want like that vibe, and you want that authenticity, right? That, like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can combine the best from both worlds, I think you really have a complete package here. And I think
you think it's balanced right now?
Fighter 5 has done that.
You think the scene is balanced right now in that regard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like it took a while to get there. I think now, like I will say this much: I think Street Fighter Season 6, this is the best the game has ever been. This is the best the game has ever been. Like, as a competitor, like as a player, somebody that just wants to play casually, like, it has it all. So I couldn't be more excited to see what happens with Street Fighter 6.
Well, right now, you know, even with you bringing up being a competitor, one of the most fascinating things, brother, I want to ask you about is just the fact that you're later, like, you've been in the scene for a while. Like you said, you started in Street Fighter 1, but yet I feel like this last 2 years or so, you've improved so much more, man. Maybe last 2-3 years, like, you've improved so much more, even though you've been nice. A lot of times people would assume that only like a younger player, like in their early 20s or mid 20s, something like that, would be doing this. How have you been able to improve so much at this point in your career?
I think in fighting games, you're only as good as your competition, right? I've always been blessed to live like in an area like the Northeast. This is before online became really popular. I've always been blessed to live like in an area like from the Northeast where literal legends were made. Like, you know, you got guys like Justin Wong, Eddie Lee, Chris G. The list goes on and on forever, right? Like, you know, I'm always used to being able to play around world-class talent. So just by default, even if I'm not trying to be the best, I'm going to be playing the best, like, or some of the best players in the world in a close proximity. Number two, I think the reason is fighting games. So fighting games are in a unique place where reactions are important, but it's not 100% everything. You know, like positioning, space control, you know, reading the opponent's mind. Those are all things that are important, and they're not necessarily based on reactions, right? So I basically try to play to my strengths, and like, you know, knowing my weaknesses are like, you know, like I'm 40, right? So obviously my reaction is going to be slower than like a 20-year-old, right? The one thing that they don't have is experience, meaning like they try to rush in, like, you know, like not thinking about what could go wrong. So like I try to use that to my advantage. I hope that gave you like a little bit of insight.
It's experience, like you mentioned, like you've been actively practicing, and a lot of reactions in fighting games, it's about having experience to know what to look for. Yeah. So I feel like with most people, as they age, it's more like they lose the competitive drive, and they don't practice the situational awareness as much, right? So to me, what's impressive is not you being good at 40, it's you having the competitive drive to continue to put in the work to be good.
That much.
Because you know, I see what's happening in the scene. 18-year-old Arturo will be jealous of what he's seeing today. He sees what's going on today, right? And he's like, damn, like, I'm like, where was all this stuff like when I was 18 and stuff?
Art, bro, I appreciate you coming on. Honestly, I want to make sure that I say thank you, man. Like, I know we talk even behind the scenes too, and I'm sure Brian shares the same sentiment, but stuff like even, you know, whether it be no neutral, stuff like, you know, Street Fighter VI in general, or even more directly, you know, what you just did for like Defend the North. There's so many different things, the countless NLBCs that we've played in at this point. There's a lot of things in the scene that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for your contribution. So I just want to make sure that I give you your flowers and that you do know that, bro. You have directly or indirectly changed me and a whole lot of other players' lives, and I appreciate you for it, brother.
Thank you so much, guys. And like, you know, at the end of the day, like I'm pretty sure like we all love Street Fighter and fighting games in general here. Like, you know, like I'm really confident about the future of Street Fighter and fighting games in general, just knowing that you guys are at the head of the Capcom USA side of things. So big ups to you guys. Keep doing your thing, both of y'all.
Always a pleasure talking to one of the GOATs in the scene, and Arturo, my man, NYC Furby. But before we get to this top 8, I do want to make sure you guys know that if you want to be competing in these top 8s and these amazing events yourself, you can head over to CapcomProTour.com to find your CPT online event near you.
And that's not the only thing you can find there. You can also take a look at that schedule tab and look for your World Warrior event. There's more ways to compete, more ways to play. The World Warrior events are a monthly series of tournaments to earn your points to qualify for the regional finals, to compete for one last chance to get into Capcom Cup. So make sure to head over to CapcomProTour.com and get in on the action.
Brian, just you talking about chances to get into Capcom Cup, it kind of just get me jittery. It kind of get my blood boiling, because these players in the Middle East have that opportunity right now. We don't gotta wait. We don't just gotta hype it up and look forward to it and analyze. It's about to go down. All of their dreams on the line. 250 bands. Imagine saying if you win this event right now. You know what I'm saying, chat? Imagine you win this event right now. You qualify for a tournament where you can win $250K. I mean, let's keep it honest. We not as rich as Brian F. We could actually use that money. This is CPT Middle East Top 8. Oh my God, I can't wait.
And welcome back to the Middle East CPT Top 8 tournament. It starts right now. We're going to see who's going to catch that coveted spot for the finale later on. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's run those introductions real quick. My name is St. Cola, and I am joined with Vicious, my friend. How are you doing?
Yo, I'm big chillin'. You know, I've been contemplating what's going to happen with the Middle East. We've seen all the players that pretty much started off from the winner side of top 16 make their way through to the top 8. I don't think I've seen those kind of numbers or that kind of event happen throughout this entire year, actually, where the entire top 16 winners have also made it into the top 8. In fact, let's take a look at that top 16 and how everything transpired just in case you missed it. And you know, I do highly encourage checking out the VODs for the most part, but I will say some of them were pretty quick in regards to the set. A lot of 2-0s, but it doesn't tell the entire tale, right?
It doesn't. And again, go back, watch the VODs for a lot of fantastic action, but it was down to the wire for some of these players. Some moments were just literally pixels away, especially for Fandroid. So they're gonna have to shore things up as they get to the top 8 spot. Let's take a look at the loser side of things too as well. A lot of players that you may not be familiar with, and some faces that we've seen in the World Warrior events too as well, making their way throughout these brackets. Once again, gotta look out for that handful matchup. That was super sick. But even people like Swansong, despite not winning, showcasing how strong the Middle East can be.
Yeah, and I loved always paying tribute to those that have been participating at each and every one of these CPTs. So seeing their name up there for the first time, there was a handful of players that actually made their first time appearance into the CPT. So big ups to them for being a part of the scene, one, and also, you know, having that kind of like courage to participate in such an event. Because most players, you know, I get it. Sometimes people just want to watch, people kind of practice, and eventually when they get into their tournament and have their name out in the spotlight, sometimes it gets a little nerve-wracking. But it's always such a cool place to see some of the newer names step up to the plate, especially in the final year of Street Fighter V, right? So big ups to everybody that had been a part of it. But flipping it up into the top 8, again, literally everybody that went into the winner side of top 16 made it into top 8 today. And we start things off with Angry Bird versus Volcano Russo. No stranger to dangers, really. It's been very back and forth in terms of, or actually I wouldn't say back and forth, but they've been playing against each other pretty consistently, right?
True.
Over in the Slash and Dash events for the World Warrior events for their region. Angry Bird had taken down Volcano Russo pretty much in back-to-back events. But I will say, last year, Volcano Russo had the better half of Angry Bird, taking him down 3-1. Then, of course, Big Bird versus GTR. That's a matchup we've seen a good amount of times as well, right?
Yeah, we've seen that over and over again. I mean, it's 80 to 20% in the favor of Big Bird for those W's, but that means it won't be free. That means that GTR does have what it takes. He just has to shore up on the day-to-day. Let's go down the loser side. Bashar versus BeamTheGamer. BeamTheGamer out here, a content creator, but also making content out of people in this top 8 spot with that Ryu. Bashar is one of those, I like to see people have multiple characters. Even if Luke can't do the job, I like to see the fact that we have other characters in the fray. Just because if you feel uncomfortable in a matchup, he has that Ed just to shore up things. But who do we have at that final match?
I do want to see what comes out between these two players, especially Fandroid versus Linku. Now, I haven't seen their performances from CPT ever, really. Now, I haven't even seen like even hints of past performances or past records of how they placed. So the fact that I'm actually seeing these names for the first time in a top 8 scenario just obviously gets all the respect and praise that it deserves, really. They've also been very active in the World Warrior events. As for them playing against each other, Linku actually had the better half of Fandroid from the Slash and Dash event back in August, taking him down 2-0. So a lot of familiarity with these players. I'm pretty sure they've all played each other across the board. This is where it counts the most, because not only are they going to be playing for a good amount of cash, let's flip the image real quick. $5,000 is on the line for the top 4 prize pool, but as the boys over at No Neutral had mentioned, everybody wants that ticket to the big dance where the prize pool is exponentially multiplied for $250K. That is nothing to scoff at. And also just being a part of such a prestigious event with some of the best players, the best players from around the world, excuse me, that in and of itself is a grand prize for some of these competitors.
You know what? Real quick, I want to give some love out to V-Slash themselves. Before the pandemic, and even during the pandemic, they were putting on a lot for the Street Fighter V scene. Immediately, it felt like frame one as the pandemic started. They did not want to lose that heat that Street Fighter V had for the scene. Immediately had a tournament. It was great to see Big Bird, Angry Bird still playing and stuff like that. And I felt that kind of drove them to start streaming too as well. So big ups to y'all putting on for the Slash and Dash. But not only that, the other tournaments too as well, supporting the scene in the area. It is a smaller scene comparatively to other areas, but that doesn't mean the talent is any less out here. And in fact, I feel like if some of these players come through on the day-to-day, like GTR and stuff like that, Volcano Russo, they could get that chance to travel as Big Bird, Angry Bird did, and have that same sort of heat and energy and make the same sort of waves.
I think GTR has made waves of his own accord, right? He has actually gone to like the tournament organization side and has really upped his game for the community itself. So he's actually taken a backseat, but still also a very active competitor. So I think like, although, you know, some of the players do strive to, you know, travel out to some of these events, there are others who kind of make their own waves within their community, right? Then we got to see an upsurge of the amount of players from different countries that are representing for the Middle East, right? We had talked about the top 16, a good amount of representation, but it's narrowed down to what we have in our top 8 right now to kind of bring about what country people are representing, right? UAE is going to be from our 3 players. There's going to be 3 players representing Kuwait as well. The country of Jordan has representation as well as Turkey, but it's not to take away the spotlight of everybody in the Middle East. Again, these guys are coming in full force, and we honestly do love to see the amount of participation from everybody in the Middle East. It's been pretty diverse thus far, right?
Yeah, it has been. Especially just beyond just the players, the characters. Seeing Zeku, obviously, as everybody loves. Yes, there are Luke players, but even though they do play Luke, a lot of these other players do play other characters, and we see the return of Karen too as well with Linku. We saw the Ken player handful. Man, I gotta say, you're one of my favorite Ken players because you tried to mix the same. You could do EXDPs and things like that, full screen Tatsus, but it was a lot of great neutral play. So if you're one of these players that had played through the Warrior events, you played through the CPT right here, even if you didn't get the top 16 spot, I want to see you continue that same sort of heat and flame of fire throughout, like Street Fighter V's life, Street Fighter 6 life. I don't care where it's at. I like seeing this play. You can see the heat. You can see that they have what it takes. They just need a chance, and they're gonna get that dance out here for the CPT right here. Oh,
looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm genuinely looking forward to it. Right, we have Angry Bird going up against Volcano Russo. I don't know if they have their quotes ready for the matchup at hand, but I will say, as it stands right now, you are going to be expecting the Ken from Angry Bird. We talked about the plethora of characters he brings to the table, right? It could be Rashid, Zeku, or Ibuki. In fact, he also has a Seth, and without a doubt, I know for sure he has a Luke. But Volcano Russo is pulling out all the stops right now. He's going to be putting the Luke on the table. He also has Guile, Poison, Sagat, Kage, but you got to go with what yields potentially the most success, I feel like, and Luke is definitely that character. Hopefully Angry Bird has a quote ready for that particular matchup. Let's take a look. He's a good player. I will do my best. Very, you know, well-spoken, good enough, I will say. Angry Bird always has his eyes on the prize, so he doesn't really spend that much time in regards to the quotes. I see you, Amjad. I'm going to call you out on that next time. But, hey, man, I need a longer quote from you, bud.
Yeah, a little bit juicier. A little more
I'm kidding.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy, but that doesn't showcase how he plays. He's so aggressive. He's so the angriness lives up to the name. In fact, I played him in casuals in 2019, and I felt like after that, I didn't want to play Street Fighter for the rest of the day. That's how ridiculous he is. He just plays at such a fast pace. It's hard to keep up, and he always has answers. I think Brian and Rob kind of put it perfectly when they say that between him and Big Bird, he's more of like the sprinter. He's more of the sprinter, and Big Bird's more of like the marathon runner. And they're both really active players, but I do feel like the Angry Bird's maybe a little bit more active, a little more continuously active. And we're going to get active right here with this top 8 spot, Middle East. Let's get it started.
We're going to see a lot of that activity in regards to like bulldogging the neutral. And what I mean by that is Angry Bird likes to kind of occupy the spaces where you feel uncomfortable or, you know, not ready to throw out a normal because you might get mistimed, you might get counterpoked. And we might see that. The Rashid is going to come to play from Angry Bird. We had anticipated the Ken, as we've seen time and time again, but going back to his tried and true. Well, technically, Zeku was his tried and true, but also Rashid has been in his arsenal for quite some time. These are 3 out of 5, by the way, taking part in the Street Fighter Duel Ring of Destiny. Let you guys know, Volcano Russo getting a ton of big hits against Angry Bird thus far.
Adding up, sweep off the feet with the crush, gets a side switch. That B-Trigger 2 wasted bait. Oh, this is going to hurt. No!
I don't know what that was, but, you know, he's playing with his food a little bit. He's warming up. He still managed to get a catching jab. Volcano Russo should be taking out. No, it's going to be a lot of scaling yet, even with Thermal Barrack, but I do like to push back on it. He gets to control the space with fireballs if need be, but no.
Big jump in.
What?
Allowing him to come through, side switch. Oh my god, that was the biggest with a medium punch. Still had the V-Trigger behind to stay fine. Volcano Russo getting the better of all these exchanges.
Yeah, you're able to throw out that medium punch and even commit to like the target combo because of the fact that you had V-Trigger behind it. But man, he was swinging for the fences with spending the bar and maybe anticipating like a normal to use armor on, but I do love that anticipation for the anti-air.
He's right there up to the Oki. Disappears to the EX back. Heavy kick for the crush. Damage on the deck. Not a lot in terms of like if you have the B skill, but this is quite a bit still.
Oh, okay, maybe not. Yikes. The crush counter onto the other side. He's pressing something on the way up, and now, yeah, gets blown up for the V-shift. Same side. Watch out for the stun. He's everywhere at once.
Again, in the super to get the win. Man, what a call out with the dive kicks. And this time it's working out just fine. Angry Bird evening things out.
So smooth with it, too. I gotta say, like, Volcano Russo had an impressive start, but Angry Bird just making quick work, as if he wasn't struck at all. Man is playing. He's firing on all cylinders kind of play style. And that was super impressive. Like, he didn't get hit once in that sequence.
Yeah.
It was like a reverse perfect.
He talked about how like he wants to make people feel uncomfortable, and he's doing so, calling out B-shifts and things like that, and making the most of these corner situations. He's out of there. Does not want to be caught up in the corner with the back medium. But here we go, Volcano Russo with the activation, and so that corner carry with the chaser. Ooh, double dash didn't commit to anything.
Yeah, the amount of control now is going to be expected from Volcano Russo. He does have the thermal barrack. He gets caught with a big throw bait. Back-to-back throw bait. We're starting to see a blatant exposure of weakness. That actually was unfortunate. That's mad unfortunate. Angry Bird just walking up in front of Volcano Russo, jumping at the moment where Luke wants to throw in the uppercut, and forcing the character to mistakenly go for the other side. That sucks, man.
Which way did he go? The Looney Tunes?
That's unfortunate, yeah. Which way did he go, George? A classic.
But, I mean, this is classic Angry Bird play. As you pointed out, as we've seen time and time again, he makes you feel uncomfortable and unusual, and he forces these mistakes out of you. We'll see if we do see a switch from Volcano Russo. I mean, he does play the Luke, but he does... Never mind. He's sticking with the Luke. He doesn't have the Guile. He doesn't have other characters, and we saw the Guile previously yesterday, but we're not going to see it right now. And some of this might be because it's just about the character. It's not about the character. It's about him. Did you see the Guile
yesterday? I'm sorry. Am I tripping? I was like, wait.
No, you didn't see the Guile. I'm talking about the World War. My bad.
Oh, okay.
I'm tripping. But I've seen the Guile from him so much. I'm so used to seeing it on the
sure.
screen.
I was like, is there a lack of sleep on my end?
No,
I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
on my end. But Volcano Russo, my mistake is running the Luke all the way through. Oof. He does have the Guile if need be, but here we go.
And I love the opener. That could have been huge. That could have been game over, actually, had he gone for the EX Flash Knuckle. But Angry Bird gets another shot. No. Overextending just a little bit, enough for Volcano Russo to get a check. Crouching jab to start it off, too. First round in game 2 goes to Volcano Russo. I want to know what it is about Angry Bird that gets me kind of like so antsy, and also caught in a lot of these counter poking situations from Volcano.
Yeah, these button placements don't seem as typical for him. Like he's whipping on that stand fierce, crouch fierce, all those things he's getting got for it. But that's gonna be a punish. Volcano Russo thought he had to confirm, and now he confirmed himself in that corner.
Ooh.
Right where you want to be for Angry Bird. Dive kick again. This time the bait. You've seen that situation before. What's in store for this post-stun fun?
Activation, you know it. And the same side, yes sir! He's going to be stealing all day with that tactic. And it's not going to be a bad choice either because of each of the two. He's going to be just fine no matter what.
Angry Bird running the ship a little bit. EX, the tech. Volcano Russo not trying to hold hands. These kills in Raw, and again, this corner situation is where Angry Bird has been focusing, has been making his money, and things are not looking funny for Volcano Russo as he gets hit with the EX Fireball. Almost done.
And nice and easy, too. Volcano Russo just in the spot where he's just moving into normals that he shouldn't have. Like, that was just so awkward. Like, he was moving forward and still got clipped as a cross-up. So that was really unfortunate. But that's 2-0. I'd imagine, like, the character change might be solicited here, but then what happens? Like, let's say you take down the Rashid with another character. Then you're susceptible to the counter pick as well. So I think, sticking to Luke would be just fine. I just think cleaning up the moments where he doesn't know like where to block and trying to keep track of the movement is a little bit tough. And also like seeing some of the uppercuts get exposed by Angry Bird should be something that Volcano Russo picks up on sooner rather than later. Yeah, and I'm not see everything else, like the amount of control he has in neutral is so good against Big Bird.
Now it's working out fine. He calms himself down just a little bit, thinking about these button presses, but here's the activation. And as much as possible, needs to see how that corner situation tries to keep it meaty, but missed space up in his place.
Even before then, right, getting some of these confirms is pivotal. It's so crucial in Luke's arsenal, right? Getting low forward to EX Flash Knuckle just leads to so much. And he's missed that opportunity twice, and now Angry Bird is just running over him again. Again and again and again. Looking at match point in very similar structure and strategy that we've seen in 2 games prior. Angry Bird is just running away with it.
I like that simplicity from Angry Bird's style. Just put him in the corner, get your W right there, and make him feel uncomfortable. That's where he doesn't want to be. Here's the EX. Now you have to make sure that you keep him in this corner. Make him paged up. Jail, no bail.
Yeah, and even so, like, if you can't keep him contained, just back away from the corner.
Right.
There we go. Uppercut. Now apply that pressure. Yes, suppressor is there, but no trade combo for Volcano. Russo. Angry Bird now out of the corner. Committing to the medium target combo, finds himself in a very, very tough position. Now he's going to get abused in this corner because of the fact that the V system has failed him.
Off the backboard,
there's a
V
V-shift break.
Yes, you don't really need V-trigger, I don't think, to win in the end, but there's a fierce buffer. Heavy mixer for the stun, and done. Angry Bird gonna move on over Volcano Russo 3-0. That corner pressure just harassing way too much for that W.
That's actually kind of rough. That was actually kind of rough. There was so many bits of potential there for Volcano Russo to take it down against Angry Bird. Like, how often have we seen Volcano Russo keep it to like a near one-touch scenario against Angry Bird? I think like majority of the rounds he's done that.
But it's just these moments of bust out, EX, Eagle Spike from downtown and things like that. He just need to calm down just a little bit, back away, block, and as you even said, like back away from the corner position, because that's where Angry Bird has been earning his W's, and right now he has earned himself a chance at that last dance, the grand finals. He's in winners finals right now, just needs one more. We'll see who's going to face off with him as Big Bird and GTR come up next.
And this is a matchup that's been, this one has truly been back and forth, right? In regards to how they performed over in the CPT. But that was a different year, right? Last year, Big Bird versus GTR. GTR had actually sent Big Bird down to loser's side in a very close match, 2-3, in favor of GTR. Then the run back happened. Big Bird absolutely demolished that matchup with a 3-1 victory. Going into it too, like Slash and Dash, they've played each other 2 times over. Actually, 2 times over in the same event. Big Bird had actually double jeopardied GTR. I don't know whether or not GTR had used the Oro because I didn't get to review the archives thoroughly, but I will say Big Bird seems to have the upper hand this year. Let's take a look at the quote to get ready for our top 8.
GTR is one of the few players we play consistently out here in the Middle East. I guess you would say he knows us well at this point. Also, he plays Oro. Please don't actually make me die from a crouching medium punch. He's talking about that trigger activation that we so fear from that character. But then again, GTR had gotten his win previously yesterday without just V-trigger. So you gotta be worrying about a little bit more than just that.
I think he activated like once.
Yeah, it was like once.
He had activated Tengu Stone once, and it was off of confirmed. So I personally would love to see the blow up. I enjoy watching Oro players drain the life out of people off of a single hit confirm. But I will say, like, all of the combos that they do, it's well deserved, man.
Yeah.
They take so much. It takes so much like executional skill to do some of the combos that they do, especially with the jump cancel stuff. I would literally watch Brian F for hours in training mode because it's like a trance, dude. I'm just like watching people play, and Broski too. Broski puts out so much fire stuff on Twitter.
We should check that out.
King, I see you. Let's go GTR. Listen, I'm a fan of both. I'm genuinely a fan of both. I would love to meet GTR one day, and hopefully it's in the spectrum at Capcom Cup in that vicinity. I would love to see that happen.
Could be.
As it stands right now, he's at the biggest speed bump of his life. Right, the GTR is gonna have to pump the brakes against a Big Bird. Let's see how it plays out. We see a ton of sandblast, right? In regards to the fireball war, I think Luke is gonna be just fine because of the fact that Oro had to charge. Ooh, that could have been so much worse for GTR, but luckily he goes away with at least, you know, a decent amount of damage against them, but the command grab actually getting the side switch is so pivotal for control.
Is that fireball control still? The DP will hit. Ah, man, at that distance, the anti-fireball game, good for Luke. Doesn't get the hit, but he's going to be able to activate and stay solid. D-reversal early from Big Bird, but there's still a lot more in the tank for this character. GTR can still make some damage come through. Try to get the grab too far out in the distance. Stay out that shot. Careful now. We could see a DP come through again from Big Bird against these fireballs. Trigger off the table.
Nice
and so is that health.
And that's a very risk-averse decision to make from Big Bird. Just crouching jab and like buffering it into the target combo no matter what, right? Against GTR, as he's walking forward, it's a smart choice. Oh, yeah, he's punishing with the target combo. One of the biggest gripes about Luke is how he's able to get consistent damage off of some of these normals, right? He gets Oki, he gets damage, and it's very easy to confirm.
Yes. Simple stuff right here. Compared to Oro, where his buttons aren't so good unless you're really close to that medium kick, that's like probably one of his best buttons. Or crouch medium kick, but right now, he's getting hit up in the corner. That man is bleeding. Big Bird's leading. EX plus frames all dang day. Don't press a damn
Literally,
button.
the entire sequence
Oh my
is plus.
God.
It's plus the movie. Oh God. Yeah, that was That's literally in big bold letters. He's just screaming, plus! Don't press a button, it's plus. You can even hear people down the street waking up.
Don't do it.
It's plus.
Don't do it.
That's just how it works, man. He spent so much meter for that impression. And it's like, it's so daunting. It's like, I'm so ready to press a button now. I want to play the game.
Yeah, why did I pay all this money to just sit here? But I actually like that Big Bird is not taking these big risks. As you pointed out, going for lights, going for mediums, nothing super extensive, and then waiting for GTR to maybe go for these hops to get a crush. Simple gameplay works out for Luke.
Oh. And still able to get the interruption. I love the audacity from Big Bird to still press buttons despite GTR trying to steal a little turn or still a little step. Harassment in the corner.
Ugh.
Somebody call somebody.
Oh,
that's
huge. Oh. He does have bar at the bottom. Drops, but this may be A-OK to get that stun. View reversal. Big Bird knew what was going to come through with that activation to keep that stun up.
And not checking the dash. GTR had the perfect opportunity to go into crouch medium punch into potential death.
Big Bird's been looking out for that. I mean, you got to make him afraid of that button, especially with triggers on the line. Nice off the Fierce and the EX. Goes in for the Oki. Well, the setup shot for the V skill.
Yeah, I'd imagine there's two options you could take off of that kick, right? Either Oki or Fireball setup. Pretty close to stun, especially after this. It's not going to be via overhead. It's going to be via plus frame traps, but I love utilizing that view reversal. Oh, you're dead? I'm so sorry.
Call your next to kin.
Yeah, I don't think Oral has any. I think the best shot he has is giving it to Ryu for Street Fighter 6. I think that was like the lore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
hey, Ryu's so sorry.
That's unfortunate, man. That was there were two instances where I feel like GTR had the potential to take it all away from Big Bird within that game. So hopefully he gets to kind of recognize those situations again, or at least force Big Bird in those scenarios to make those crucial erroneous moves that we could have gotten checked.
I mean, anyway, like GTR has spinning the V bar for V reversal was like kind of like showing me like he's pressed a little bit too much in his corner. So again, gotta stay mid range in this game, but no anti right there. Big Bird gets a fantastic jump and gets a chaser. Doesn't keep it as meaty as possible, but still, the corner push to the corner means he gets to press this person.
Yeah, that was good awareness too from Big Bird, knowing full well the fireball was coming, so he reacted to it. That was very smart, but now GTR is trying to harass as well. That medium punch not going anywhere. It's going to give Big Bird a lot of space, yes sir, to throw out some of these thermal barracks. He just needs one to reclaim territory. That could have been huge. That could have been death against GTR.
Careful!
Oh, Marco, you can't do that!
In the shot from downtown, though.
You can't do that. That's the second time that's been punished. I understand the sentiment. GTR wants to bait out maybe like a rocket uppercut, but Big Bird has called that out twice with background house.
This character with all the tools to get the W, but then again, Big Bird has not been doing some big distinctions. Here's GTR, better start.
Trying to catch a button with Big Bird. You saw the call out. Yeah, it is your turn after that, even with the charged flash knuckle.
Nice whip punish, backs up for that medium punch and whip to get the hit, and again the chase down. We saw it before. The anti-air V skill too.
That was
the Nelman.
That was all an accident. Plus frames. Do it again. You still get to apply plus frames. You have meter. This should.
I
don't know what he could have done.
So unfortunate, but he has having the
corner.
He
got it. He's fine. Yeah, he sent out the goons, right? Crouching medium punch. So I get it. Like if you whiff it, it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna try to whiff punish this normal. But no, the Tengu stuns, they all have a mind of their own, right?
Get him, boys. GTR getting another chance.
It's growing the minions, is what it is.
But Big Bird playing Despicable Me with that medium punch. Backing GTR up in the corner once again. He's looking at him, trying to fly out a little bit earlier out of this corner, knowing that that's not where we want to be. And the whip punish. Falls the fireball, stocks up with a booger.
Yagyo Damo is going to be so tough to kind of protect against once it gets set up. But now, I take it all back. That was instant recognition from Big Bird. I thought it would take a little bit longer to get past GTR setups, but it was literally the next turn. Oh, yeah, I love that check. Low medium kick counter hit. Yes, sir.
Side switch.
Look at the conversion. Oh, you're hella dead. There we go. GTR on the board. Yo, back-to-back counter hit conversions against Big Bird. That's what I love to see.
Keeping it nice and meaty. And also we see the side switch and him early game fighting outside the corner. No, I cannot be here. In all addition to that, keeping enough range to beam for that crouching kick situation. If you whip, I'm going to get my hit, continue that pressure. And also we see the V skill being able to be utilized. Yes, it got checked the second time it was on the screen. However, I like him being able to utilize all the tools that Oral has. Can he stay solid? Game still point for Big Bird, but GTR's fighting back.
Oh, that could have been a big punish, but still Big Bird also wasn't really sure whether or not his medium punch was going to hit. Oh, that would have been so dicey, too, if that background house would have connected again against the double jump with Oro. The interruption from the dash, I like that now. GTR, a little bit more activity from him. Anti-air from the other side. He gets to continue it. Look at the damage off of an anti-air.
EXDP, what's it going to do? A Goblin gets outside that corner, sweep off the feet, looking for that on-block situation. Get some distance. This is real good. GTR would love to block a few more moves just to get that V trigger. Or just take the hit with a throw, the knuckle sandwich. How's he going to find a way to activate? Big Bird keeping outside that distance. Actually walks in.
Actually whips. I think GTR is looking for a way to activate. Oh, he's going to get it. I think he could potentially kill. Looking at the trigger wind down. No, it's not enough. Too much scaling involved.
It's the Inks bar in that sequence for Strubbles. DB again.
Lights. And
the throw.
Yes,
GTR.
That's a guess for game scenario. I mean, Big Bird couldn't even risk it either. But, you know, he had a significant lead, right? He has 2 games to 1 against GTR. Like, I do like the fact that GTR is forcing Big Bird to rethink and assess, like, what to do in those split-second decisions.
Doing a good job, too, of activation, too. Well spaced with the knees, but here's the back throw. Puts him in the corner. Big Bird early with it. With punish on the medium. Fantastic awareness from Big Bird this time. Talk about guess for game right here. Getting to that point with that bar at the bottom from Big Bird.
Oof. Move it. Nice conversion. I love the whiff punish from GTR. Look at the amount of damage. He gets to do it again. I think you could actually kill it with critical art.
Send him to heaven.
It's not enough.
It's not enough?
I don't think it's enough.
He's still alive.
Yeah, it was slightly. It wasn't like close to like halfway point of the stun gauge.
Oof. Still good for Big Bird. All this room, all this range to play with the B trigger and the EX bar at the bottom. You can't throw out a damn fireball if you're GTR. Even now, there's that EX bars you see right there. Trying to catch GTR lacking.
I wouldn't even want to jump. It's so tough.
Speed time out the double KO. You know what that means.
That's what I wanted to see from GTR. That's exactly what I wanted to see from GTR. He was slowly inching his way forward so that he would actually get the trade. I was thinking it would be from like maybe like a forward medium punch where he gets like the backhand. But crouching medium punch was just as good. That was so smart from GTR. I love that. 2-2.
2-2.
Down to the wire, yo.
So we like to see, again, you give these players a place to play. You give them an arena and a chance to qualify for a seat at Capcom Cup, the finals. They're going to play their stuff off. I almost said something different, but Big Bird got to do something different with his energy. I feel like he's got to get a little more active, and I like this right here from Big Bird in general, and not with these buttons. Catching GTR whipping.
Yeah, now he's checking the dashes more consistently. GTR not letting Big Bird have anything for free. Gets the throw as well. Go for a conversion. No, this wasn't enough. He actually could have gotten maybe like an uppercut, but I think it was a sharp angle.
Oh, that uppercut is going to be waited and baited. Big Bird back on set point.
And the amount of meter on his side, I feel like the odds are heavily stacked in his favor. GTR, he's going to be on the struggle bus for a while. He's going to take a detour to success. Let's see if he can get there. The whiff punish.
The sweep off the feet with the EX knuckles coming through for some corner carry. The tech this time. You can see him switch up with the back medium and the tech, but the hits connect. The EX gets the knockdown. B skill again. Suppressing this man's possible run through the winner's side bracket. Still alive.
And he knew it. Yo, Big Bird making all the right reads on what GTR wanted to do on defense, taking it down 3-2, and by no means was it an easy match. I gotta say, like, that was as close as we could ever expect it to be. I think GTR again showing such prowess with the characters he's played with thus far. They're just a couple of bad beats where, you know, he's trying to make a guess for certain defensive options where he truly gets blown up. But other than that, he went pretty much dead even with Big Bird.
Yeah. down to the wire, as you put it. And also the fact that Big Bird himself had stopped whiffing fierce, stopped whiffing certain butts and things like that, and kept it kind of ambiguous what he wanted to do. Better with the zoning too. I like that play from Big Bird to not put too much on the table, but just put enough on the table to get that victory. GTR, again, was checking the dashes and stuff, and that told Big Bird, I have to calm down in how I come through, because that's a lot of side switch, that's a lot of damage. I'm getting close to the character where he needs to be. Man, these combos, bro. Even though the smallest combos for his character still look sick with that B-trigger too.
Damn, we get the replay again?
Yeah, show it to him again.
I wanted to make sure we got the tutorial.
This is how you play Oral right here.
I appreciate it, replay operator. I see you. So, yeah, so a lot of the damage consistencies that Luke has just leads to these moments more often than not. But I will say, from like on behalf of GTR, like it's so difficult to get some of these counter hit combos consistently. So you have to have a really keen eye for that. GTR had really shown off like his fundamentals as a fighting game player in that set, on top of knowing full well how to like pilot Oro in certain situations. There were a couple of flub ups, I will say. Like there were a couple of moments where he's like, you know, I probably shouldn't have placed that normal there.
Probably shouldn't have V-skill here.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe. But other than that, he cleaned it up real well. But still, he's going to be down below in the losers quarterfinals, where we get to see all the Sharks play.
That's right. We're moving down the loser side real soon here. I can't wait to see, because we're going to start sending some people home. We might even see that run back later on. But that solidifies your winners finals. Angry Bird versus Big Bird, the classic that we've seen in Street Fighter League, that we've seen over the years in CPT, hell, that we've seen out here, and even the World Warrior events.
And I'm glad you talked about the classics in relation to Street Fighter, because you see on the top right there, you see that little emblem Street Fighter Duel. Well, I got a lot to talk about that. The Capcom authorized mobile game Street Fighter Duel is now available for download in China, with the global version coming out real soon. Fight along with Ryu, Chun-Li, and Ken against the Suzaku Castle, further into the Shadowloo City, explore the mysterious organization, experience the classic stories with all your fighters. Also, recall your memories of the original Street Fighter. Your Street Legend is now back on track with various fighting styles such as counter, stun, combo, and super, an impressive array of fighting elements and the associate combos that offer you a new battle experience, challenging your combat skill. That is a mouthful, but it is truly the epic legend that is reborn on mobile. Download Street Fighter Duel now, and let's fight for each other and join the journey with millions of players to become the best fighter, which is exactly what we're doing here today in the Capcom Pro Tour.
I know that oral play definitely got you excited to play some more Street Fighter V. So if you want more Street Fighter V action, there are new World Warrior regional events happening right now. 26 different regions, 26 regional champions. These events happen monthly, so head on over to CapcomProTour.com for more information and on how to register. As you see right here, we have a lot of familiar faces in terms of the tournaments. Salt Mine League, Wednesday Night Fights, the Versus community. Shout out to Mike Ross coming back on the mic and things like that. A lot of great tournaments that y'all can still enter. There's still one more month to sign up as we get to the finales in December.
The Slash and Dash being a big part of the Middle East World Warrior events. Again, all of these guys that have been throwing down, first and foremost, we do truly appreciate you guys. Being a tournament organizer is no easy task, that is for certain. So again, show some love to all of these guys. And if you guys don't get to watch it, well, I mean, No Neutral has you covered pretty much every week.
That's true.
Right? So again, visit Capcom Pro Tour for all the details and to sign up. In the meantime, get yourselves ready for the rest of the losers bracket as we change it up. This is where it's no man's land. It's do or die time. It's going to be happening after this break with more Street Fighter V action coming to you.
Time to fight, time to fight. Never give up, we won't retreat. The ones who stand have turned to defeat. So fight, time to fight. Glory waits for those who fight. We unite, we are Street Fighters.
When you go looking for strength, it's not like a game. This journey doesn't have a real ending. Okay then, hope you're ready to begin. If you want to start off on the right foot in this city, hit the streets.
Yeah, hey there, I do this. Never fear losing. And
when I get up in the game, y'all be improved. A real problem, but I solve them all fakes proof. And if you think I'm going forward, then you talking fool. Yeah, y'all wanna win, let me spin, boy. Or dunks aside, I'm super fly like I'm hanging off the rim, boy. I've been winning for my kinfolk, and I put on for my city from the intro. Fight! It started from the ground up, training getting wound up, channeling it in itself and moving up and down, crossing over, passing around, for no time the clock and keep score. Years I never thought it crossed before. When I get tired on my knees, I got it digging it deep. I feel like I'm on the road, it really has got me. Since I went to win, no goodbyes. If you just did again, I'm out in the skinny, riding around in the dreaming. Once I get the feeling,
The top player is here.
Let me have some fun.
Ready? Then show me.
This will be a good fight.
if you wanna come and stand up to me, pull up on me now. If you want to challenge, tell me what you want on me now. I'm on the road to the top and I'm not looking back. I'm on the road to the top and I'm not looking back.
This is our destiny. My secret arts.
Street Fighter VI.
The Birds have taken flight and have seeded themselves into a winner's final scenario yet again. Here for the Middle East, this is the Capcom Pro Tour 2022. My name is Vicious, here with St. Cole. We've been going through all of these matches since the top 16 yesterday, and it's been absolutely ridiculous. And it's going to continue to do so. Right now, it's going to be do or die time. And I say that because of the fact that we are going to be running through the losers bracket, part of which has all the players that have made it from the winner's side of top 16.
We're going down to the bottom shop. Let's take a look at the bracket real quick. Oh boy, I can't wait for this one. Bashar versus BeamTheGamer. Now, Bashar, Ed player, Luke player, we've seen those characters, but we don't get to typically see the Ryu. After that's going to be Fandroid and Linku. But back to BeamTheGamer, playing that Ryu we saw yesterday, keeping it real solid against the likes of Swan Song, against the likes of that Wild Style, that Wild Child, Mika player, plus more. But it's really great to see these players, interact with other characters or keep playing characters that have maybe been left to the side, even though they have been getting buffed, but maybe not picked up as much.
Sure.
It's good to see that people are still playing characters like Ryu and other maybe more vanilla type characters out here. and making waves.
Yeah, those kind of matchups we rarely get to see in general, right? We're starting to see a resurgence of some of these characters just due to the fact that Capcom has done a fantastic job of balancing out the characters and giving everybody a decent amount of, viability to it too. There's a lot more consistencies when it comes to light damage or, getting damage off of light openers. We get to see that from Ed and, a little bit more damage pumped towards Ryu, which is why we're seeing that matchup today. So let's take a look at the quote. What we had for our top 8 from the loser side. BeamTheGamer says, Luke and Ed won't be an easy job for Ryu, but I believe in my abilities. Time for a Cinderella story. I like that. I do like that a lot because there hasn't been a lot of data on BeamTheGamer. I personally haven't seen it. I've been looking it up since like yesterday, even like the night before. I haven't seen a lot of data in regards to like CPT performances. I haven't even seen it as much from like the World Warrior events. He has participated in it, don't get me wrong, but I haven't had the chance to see this man in the spotlight he's in right now because coming from pretty much under the radar into top 8 is always going to be like an impressive feat.
Yeah, exactly. And again, using a character that we don't get to typically see is fantastic. They have fought at one of the World Warrior tournaments, actually in the October one, the most recent one, where it's 2-0 in the favor of Bashar with that Luke and Ed. Didn't get to see what characters were utilized, so I'm curious to see what's going to be happening in this run back. And it's going to be a ridiculous run back because, again, this is losers. You only get one chance for the dance out here in this loser side. You cannot be fading away, and I want to see if they've made any adjustments, if this Ryu player has made any adjustments. Like, you could tell that he's like, all right, this is going to be a difficult matchup. Either way, Luke or Ed is going to be hard, and I feel like that may put him in a better spotlight now. Like, okay, I need to play better. I lost this time. I have the data. I have the replays. It's time to get the results.
I'm kind of curious to see what kind of adjustments need to be made, or at least are going to be made from the side of BeamTheGamer, right? I think one of the things we talked about in regards to his previous matchup against someone like Volcano Russo, I think he had to play off against, I believe it was like, I think it was the Luke, right? So one of the things I do want to see him utilize is that V-skill itself, right? Getting rid of some of the fireballs. But okay, it's not going to be the case. It's going to be the Ed. So this is a matchup I feel like not a lot of players will be familiar with. We've seen some of the people get exposed to this character via a Red Rooster, Ajax. So we'll see how this plays out, right? BeamTheGamer, I don't know what the matchup was like between these two prior, right? Bashar taking it down 2-0 from the last action dash. There we go. Yeah, using the mind's eye, the parry, getting himself out of the corner, and the delayed cosmic media punch. Yo, the fundamentals are showing.
We saw that yesterday, didn't we? Like, in the corner, that was the pressure he had. In the fadeaway, oh, he's taking notes, baby. Studying and studious. Get that stun.
He's got the young man reactions, that is for sure.
I mean, I don't have those. I'll tell you that. The gamer's staying solid for the activation. Heavy kick. Here it comes. Oh, caught him lacking. To the corner you go for that trouble.
Not quite the corner just yet, and I love utilizing that V-shift break to kind of pump the brakes on Bashar. Now he gets to reset the situation. Jump in, reaction to the EX fireball from that distance. You're giving Bashar the green light. Tip throw, nothing. Ooh. BeamTheGamer, he's chilling.
EX fireball for the knockdown, doesn't do the duty. Back throw.
Trigger on deck. Oh, that could have been a big whip punish. Oh, nothing. I get that from Bashar, but now BeamTheGamer is going to pay for it. Instead of just using the flicker into EX, he spends the entire bar, and I like that from Bashar.
That's a statement and a half right there. But then again, Beam just needed to activate to stay solid, plus range to stay in the game for a little bit longer. And I like that we do see Bashar come back. He knew it was at the brink right there, but it wasn't over until he sees the KO screen. Yeah. But Beam off to a better start.
Even if he wasn't like in the plus scenario, right? Sweeping activation is going to leave you at neutral. It's going to leave you at 0. So I do like the opportunity to even like get that situation going within that space. So BeamTheGamer now in dire straits. I don't know if he's going to keep. There we go. Exposing the legs.
Go right for the toes. Backs off. Yeah, saw it so hard to whip punish. All right, some people talking about that on Twitter. How to deal with that button. We did see BeamTheGamer utilize, the donkey kick. But here we go. Activation. We got V-bar.
That's plus. What happens now? This is the sequence again, but he actually gets the exposure and the confirm. More than enough damage. Bashar taking it down 1-0 against Beam. And that's not for nothing, too. BeamTheGamer had a good amount of calls, good amount of confirms as well, and just amazing reads on the Ed player up until that point. I think there's just a lot to be said in regards to like him kind of being frantic on wake up. I think there was a couple of buttons and mispresses that we saw where he got exposed for like, getting punished by meaties. Good amount of damage from Bashar overall, taking advantage of the fact that Beam has been pressing buttons on wake up.
Yep, keep it as meaty as possible. And that range for that V-skill. Like you put out that option too, like you cannot be calling up the fireballs as much. You have to be careful about how you place those and space those plasmas. Oh, trying to find a whip punch. It's so hard against the flicker.
Yeah, it just moves so quickly too, within the ranges where you want to try to press buttons, and it takes so much damage eventually, right? You get chipped off of it, you build meter for yourself. It's such a good tool for poker, or even just like, yeah, who thought, man? Just again, extending that flicker for a bar is just so potent, right? You get the damage output and you get the corner carry.
That's right. Here's the throw though. Beam's not deterred just yet. The throw again. Strike throw. The tech. It's time to stay fine. Not let that stun rise up.
A little bit of an awkward movement there too from both players. No anti-air. He actually was able to get it. I don't think that was a punish on recovery.
Ooh, yeah. Keep beating up. The super not gonna kill. Next hit will. Raw activation.
But that was it.
Nothing from it. The anti-airs are coming through from Bashar instead of BeamTheGamer. Checking the skies, no surprise. He finds the finish.
Some good awareness too from Bashar and still keeping the mental stack to a minimum. Really still paying attention to the skies even after a couple of scrambles over at near death. Uppercut? Nope, not quite. You know that's so smart too to not actually uppercut from that range, because Beam could have just like empty jumped and he would have been punished for it.
That's true. Trying to get over the corner, harass him with those medium kicks. Neutral jump too far out the distance, but I like that he's not taking any damage. Now the jump in. Trying to catch him back in. Bro, what a whip punish. And again, that extension with the EX bar to push him in the corner. You're not really getting open, but you are pulling them to this place where they don't want to be. Beam waking up with violence.
Again. Found a lot of success with that. I love the mix afterward from Beam. Knowing full well that wasn't going to work. EX uppercut, catching the overhead. Bashar could actually do this with a throw. Oh, and I like that. He's still going for frame traps, and now BeamTheGamer escapes the corner yet again.
No anti right there. We'll just check it out. Activation.
Can't. That's going to be a big whiff punish for Bashar. As much, I get the intention, right? BeamTheGamer wanted to try to punish the activation. He was just too shy of it. Like, I think there was just not enough space. He didn't get to walk up into place in time, really. So that was just a mishap. BeamTheGamer getting whiff punish for his trouble is really unfortunate.
And honestly, for Beam, it's just like a few steps away from solidifying his gameplay. Anti-airs, keeping things a little bit more meaty on his side when he gets the knockdown, and finding out better situations, better spacing. If he could do that, he could stay in the game. But right now, Bashar is on game point.
No punish on the V-Scale. There was an anticipation for a fireball. We do get the crush counter, and just look at the amount of screen carry he gets off of that. Bashar now keeping it contained. See a lot more V-Scale usage than we have throughout the entirety of the set. See the parry. Gamer, uppercut.
There we go. The anti-airs right there. That's what we wanted to see from BeamTheGamer totality. Back into the corner slowly. And you can't be whipping that button. He's trying to find that entry point, but Bashar's inside distance. He's waiting for that button to whip and gets the hit. The throw, another one, but no back throw.
Oh, that was just a mishap. BeamTheGamer with a vital execution error. Now Bashar back in control again. The media actually, big exchange. EX uppercut, get him out of there. BeamTheGamer has another shot. No, he doesn't get the shimmy. He actually had the throw bait successfully, but it was just a little bit too far off the mark.
You see that time and time again, too far out to get that crushing kick confirmed, to get some distance with a Tatsu. Beam living on a pixel, a little bit on help. The air right there, one more touch. Don't arm coming in, but again, nothing big off these crouch moving kicks. Bashar on set point.
You can tell there's a lot of timidity in regards to like the button presses and the buffers coming in from BeamTheGamer. His confirms are not being optimized. Right, he gets low forward into what, like a fireball? It's not going to be enough damage. He had a kill scenario 2 times over to whip punish against Bashar. Bashar's giving it to him a couple times over, just Beam hasn't been ready for it.
Well, person steady right here is Bashar. He gets to the corner. Again, no open situation, but that's fine. You're putting them in a bad position where Beam is just feeling uncomfortable, unusual. Spinning V-bar, no anti-air, but that's fine. Bashar willing to back away to find that perfect place for the anti-air if need be.
Now putting himself in the corner. This is BeamTheGamer's time to shine. Yeah, and I love the kind of mind game Bashar's kind of presenting with that heavy punch too.
His 4 fierce trap has not been getting anything in the EXCP too far out the distance, trying to DP his demons. It's not working out right here for Beam.
Food activation, no side switch, instead going for the low, and I love that sequence, exposing the legs. And now looking for a frame trap, forward medium punch, actually getting the overhead. Close to stun, EX uppercut, you couldn't do that safely.
That could have been that stun, that could have been it to keep him in the game right now, Bashar.
Oh my god.
Breaks to the guard, EXCP.
Oh my god! Not quite dead. And the crouching jab after the dash. BeamTheGamer got caught mid-air. That was just mad unfortunate. Beam tried to go for a throw, just a little bit out of range again. Again and again. Bashar taking it down 3-0.
That's going to be the tail of tapes. Just not being in that right distance, not finding the right confirms. And again, maybe if you're in that top 8 spot, you start to feel the nerves a little bit because Beam just wasn't able to stay as solid as Bashar in these sequences. Even the jump is not getting denied. Barely we saw any of the anti-airs from this character. Bashar able to come through for free, and he puts him in the corner. He's putting him in a bad position continuously.
I think in regards to the confirms we've seen between both players, I think Bashar was able to capitalize on his a lot more consistently in regards to or in comparison to BeamTheGamer. And also keeping aware of the mental stack, like not letting it get to such a high degree where he's not paying attention to the anti-air game. And also his counter pokes have been super potent too. I will say it's the same for BeamTheGamer. We do see a couple of counter poke attempts and we see the hits, but it's not as potent when you're not dishing out the damage that's left on the table, right? So big ups to BeamTheGamer making it this far. No easy feat, making it into top 8. And I'm really, really excited to see. Like, if he keeps this up with the way he's playing Ryu now, he's going to have such a good time with Street Fighter 6. I promise you. With the way that Ryu plays in 6, he's going to be a god gamer. I'm telling you right now. But Bashar, he's the man of the hour. His reward gets to beat up a car. It's going to be against GTR. But up next, it's going to be Fandroid versus Linku. Now, these two players also have had history with each other. Over in the Slash and Dash events back in August, Fandroid actually fell to Linku 0-2. Wow, the Luke versus the Karen match, huh?
That's right. Fandroid also had lost to Linku, though, at the Sabaku Rumble Round 2 online, and the winners finals 3-1. So they definitely had some history right here, but this is going to be something different. This is going to be playing for that qualification seat. And again, loser side, don't want to be out here, get knocked down. Karen versus Luke. Let's see the quote between the two players.
Going into it, right, we do have Fandroid giving him big praise, right? He's one of the best players in this region, and I will do my best against him, and that's exactly what we like to see. Again, full recognition of both players' skills, right? We talked about it just now, but Fandroid, again, being a fan of the opposition, a ton of respect all across the board when it comes to, like, the Middle East players, right? Everybody's been playing against each other for so long. Again, their community is very tight-knit and also very niche in that regard as well. We don't get to see as many of these players shine in the spotlight that we would expect from, like, other majors and whatnot, but being able to play and, like, within certain communities, like being able to play consistently online, you're going to get that recognition and that exposure at the same time of so many different play styles, so many different characters and different players.
Yeah, I mean, that's really great, again, to have the CPT for this express situation to showcase these players, to have them come together and be like, okay, even after this, even after you take the L, like you have data to work from, you have something to work from later on in the years for Street Fighter V or Street Fighter 6, should say. But I am curious to see what's going to happen in this match. You know, this is a run back when it comes to something different. This is for the qualification seat to stay in the game, to stay in the tournament. And Karen coming out here to still make a career for some of these players.
Also, big ups to everybody that picks this costume for Luke. I love this jersey. Like, this is the sickest design. I'm going to say, like, sure, you may not be, like, a Luke fan. Hell yeah, dude. Are you kidding me? The USA basketball jersey, it reminds me of the Olympic jersey, man. That's just, it gives me Kobe Bryant vibes.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's the thing. It's so sick. I love everybody that picks the basketball jersey, the USA basketball jersey. Y'all are real ones.
All right, I'm a fan of Fandroid right here. Linku probably not. Let's see if we can take him down. Fireballs at that mid-range game. I love that. They're happy with the buttons and the walk-in throw. Knuckle sandwich again.
Look again. Dang, that was so far. That was so mean. Jesus.
So he'll keep his turn. Fandroid playing this nice and patient. Not a bit confirmed. Buttons here and there.
Sending light kick is going to be the big deterrent, but also the sandblaster. And I think that was so smart for Fandroid to kind of back off and kind of bait Linku into moving forward. Using that dash, sure, it's a lot. It yields a lot of risk, but the reward behind it could have been very heavy if you got that hit. Linku starting to get some of these hits.
They're poking away. That's a play. Nothing big.
Yeah,
anti-air right there. Linku. Trying to push him in the corner.
No. Nothing off of that, really. Just wasn't time for the punish.
Gotta deal with that button. That is with punishable. You can deal with it.
Standing heavy punch is a great deterrent against that button. There it is!
There we go. That's the nerf that we see finally in play. And using the fierce to hit that hitbox. Some characters can't deal with it as well, but Karen fantastic with the fears.
Yeah, standing medium punch, standing heavy punch, what have you. I think even like crouching medium punch from certain distances if you wanted to be a little bit snappy about it.
Works out in the clutch.
Ugh.
Waits and baits. That's going to be more than enough for the stun. He might be able to get this done. Or at least close to, I should say.
Pretty close. At least within throw range, most definitely.
Walked back. You thought it was over. I'm still in distance for that. Crouching to kick into the fireball. Patient play from Fandroid either way. And I like him going for these close range fireballs. She can skate step through the fireballs. It's a risk to do the shoulder tackle, but it is invincible for a little bit. And he is in that distance where it's going to be hard to react. Am I going to throw a button? Am I going to throw some projectiles? You don't know.
Yeah, I think that mind game in and of itself is going to be so hard to traverse because Sandblaster is probably the fastest projectile in the game. Don't quote me on that if I'm wrong, but if I am wrong, it's by a very small margin because that Sandblaster is quick. And again, we saw that strategy in play. You just talked about it, right? Anticipating it with Orochi to get past a Sandblaster, maybe catching Fandroid, like, on startup. But as it stands right now, we see the throw baits coming in. D-skill, dash of price, EX uppercut off.
Walking down with the meaty fireball, sweep off the feet. Gotta be careful of that activation. You gotta be careful of that meaty situation. Doesn't get a full conversion. Unfortunate for Fandroid. But these fireballs are gonna be harder to deal with for Linku at this distance. He's gonna get in. Whip push. There could have been more.
No confirm, up a low forward. Again, some of these low forwards from Fandroid going pretty much unpunished too. No whip punish from Linku. It's so difficult. I get it.
You gotta be confident in fighting this character, confident in fighting these buttons. It's understandable considering what he gets off of that, but they can be whip punished. Or hit will do with a dash up counter hit after that back throw, does it? Fandroid solidifying the neutral.
Again, there are a couple of buttons that Karen has in her arsenal to whip punish normal like that. Oh my god, you are a thief. You are a dirty thief for that one.
Let's get a shoulder tackle situation. Pressing with those mediums, but you see him back up enough to get that medium punch, but striking right back is no, never mind. Linku is not fine. He is not buying these confirms, these combos.
It's tough. Both these characters are very difficult to pilot under certain circumstances of CFN, right? They rely heavily on getting some really solid timings down for their confirms. One for Tenko. Oh, that's perfect. That's superb. But at what cost, right? Sure, this is going to be a W for Linku. It's a great gain in momentum.
Right.
But he has no resources going into the next match. On the other hand, look at down below on the left. Like that is the jump scare coming out for Halloween.
That's right. Don't go in that closet. Don't go in that swamp. Linku has to get busy with the harassment. Build that bar back so he can get another CA in play at the end. But it's so hard with these fireballs and that EX switching it up. What he does in terms of the momentum, the rhythm and rhyme is hard to figure out. Again, the fireballs. Linku can't get that right distance.
The strategy being implemented by Linku, also keeping it sort of tight-knit with the medium kicks to kind of stop the fireballs on startup, and also switching between that and Orochi. But now he gets exposed, right? Fandroid is aware of this strategy. Now he's exposing the legs to prevent Linku from walking forward for free.
Dashes in, gets the counter hit. Not impressive.
He didn't have meter for it.
I think XDP would have finished it, but one hit will do the duty. And right now, Fandroid's on that 9-5 plus overtime. This dude has been so good at routing things back and being confident in his projectile game. We've already seen it being countered with the shoulder tackle and the super. That's great. But he knows that that is what works. Just because it gets hit a few times or gets interrupted doesn't mean it doesn't work, and he understands that and sticks to his game plan.
And I like him instilling fear in that corner positioning against Linku too, where he actually gets to steal his turn again with the dash. I mean, he's been known to steal turns before. We've seen it from the flash knuckle into EX uppercut, but also doing it via dash also gives a ton of information to you. It's like, all right, well, my opponent is very reluctant to press buttons at this point. Let's take advantage of that.
He wants to be in that corner position. Oh, no confirms again. Here we go. Linku waking up, has to do so. Game point for Fandroid. Nice buffer for the corner carry. And back to this harass with the mediums. That back medium punch and medium punch just do so much work for this character. This corner pressure is definitely understated.
Oh, you're dead. Or not dead, sorry. Side switch, you got it. Oh, frame cracks here. You get the sweep into activation. I had to make it safe regardless. I think like a touch and a half. Oh, you actually go for the dirty stuff?
You grimy and slimy man, Linku. Does I didn't hear no bell?
That's, there is a big interruption point for that, by the way. Doing the hands into the elbow, you can press a button in between. The crouching jab is going to grant a counter hit as well. So that was a big risk from Linku. Fandroid paid severely for it. And now he's angry. Look at the amount of sandblasts he's throwing out there.
In both eyes. Linku getting some push in the corner and some V-bar build up with that B skill.
Oh. Just barely walking out, microstepping away from the throw. There was a counter hit there from Linku. Exposing the legs, low forward. I don't know what that was.
Linku taking the chance to activate. Now Fandroid pulling his trigger. Trying to walk into the corner. See the down back like that. Linku not getting enough off these confirms. Need more sword, especially when you're fighting someone like Luke.
That was it. That was actually it. He could have killed. He could have killed for game.
Now you have to traverse these fireballs. Oh, there we go.
Oh, he was going for the difficult stuff. I get you.
Extreme
I get
difficulty.
that you want to stun. Yeah, that was max difficulty conversion from Linku. He went for the low forward, just like Tenko, got the Orochi, but he could have just gone for V-trigger. But I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Stunting is a habit, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, Linku, I see you staying up in the game and giving some maximum excitement.
I totally get that. But we're starting to see some of the defensive exposures coming in from Linku. Fandroid is slowly starting to walk up into the ranges of low medium kick. I think he needs to be a little bit more aware of that going into this match. What are you supposed to do about this? I feel like crouching medium punch starts to come into play for that particular normal. And also staying away from medium kick too. I think Linku is doing a fantastic job of still being within this range.
I think Fierce can work out for Luke. Obviously, you have to be careful about how you put out that button. But if you want some big boy damage, you can utilize that Fierce, especially if it's stocked up with the V-skill right behind it. Let's see if he utilizes any of those buttons. These fireballs, again, now more at a mid-range game. And without bar, maybe Linku's a little bit more intensive to use that. He's going to use it for the EXTP. Challenge on the dash in.
Yeah, you don't get a dash up off of any sort of like EX uppercut, right? That's just like the game design. You're not allowed to get free OQ off of a get off me move. Ooh.
Yeah, you see it back away for that activation. It's going to come either way. The reversal. Still the block.
There was an opportunity there from Fandroid. Linku is going to take full advantage of that. 2 big openings, make it 3. Throw for kill. Oh, and that's exactly what Fandroid thought too. That is exactly what Fandroid thought. He was anticipating the throw, and it was indeed the bait.
Oh, God, I love seeing that.
The plot twist. We're watching an M. Night Shyamalan film for Halloween. This is exactly what's going on.
Didn't expect it. Let's stay in the game for a little bit longer. As he gets stronger, as he occupies more of that space, more confident, too. Being, a more bevy of dash-ins and things like that. Now they're all V-skill.
Oh, my God.
Oh, unfortunate. Committed to the anti-air.
And I love that decision, but still okay. Oh, that's going to be hella damage off the side switch, too. No, you had it.
He can still have it. It's still in his hands. One more hit needs to land.
No whip punish on the low forward from Linku. So reluctant.
It's right there in your hands, Linku, to give us more games.
He's so pensive.
Has to traverse the maze of fireballs and not fall.
It's so close. It's so close. There we go. No more within threat. That's the
there
whip
it
punish.
is.
There we go. Linku back-to-back big conversions. Not dropping this combo, that's for sure. All tied up 2 apiece. Already off to a different start between these 2 players in regards to like their former history, right? It has been full-on blowouts, I feel like, between these 2, but now it's down to the wire. 3 out of 5 territory, it's a whole different ballgame.
And I like that he's looking out for the express button that we were talking about, because that's a good party starter against crouching uni kick. He's like, that's what I want you to think. I'm going to be outside this distance, let it whip, I'm going to get my hit. And now we see Linku turn up like volume. We see him getting a lot more aggressive and a lot more confident in his decisions. This is what we like to see. We're not going to see any blowouts right here. Game point for both players.
I love that. Yeah, Fandroid has been so insistent on like interrupting the Orochi from a normal. And it's been more than it has rewarded him.
V-shift dashes right back in, but nothing from the side of Fandroid.
Oof. Oof.
Oh, V-skill. Maybe looking out for a fireball either way. Against the V-bar, all built up.
There you go. Let's say a jump, forward throw. Now within range for the roundhouse. Yeah, Linku should have known that, but still gets the side switch. Not trying to anti-air. He's just playing it safe.
All that help, I understand. The V-skill lands. DP, yeah.
Ooh, and he spent the trigger. He immediately went into the hands. Fandroid preemptively throwing out that standing medium kick. Just a great deterrent from anything moving forward. Looking at match point now for Fandroid.
Fandroid might be deterring Linku's march to the loser side. Stability coming from the side of Fandroid. Nice challenge right there. Immediately wakes up, quick rise with the buttons. Bishop in the break to put some great life on it and dashes right back in.
Oh my god.
So afraid of him whipping out that button. I'm going to be real with you.
He had it. There was a single hit there from Fandroid. Able to confirm. Oof. Running into the normal. Linku having the right presence of mind to throw out that medium punch against Fandroid. Lets it so much. Get off of the activation time.
Anti-air's right there.
Oh, you're dead!
Finish the job.
Oh, he's not going to spin the bar.
Save it.
It was a crush heart. Oh, you're actually hella dead. To be fair, I think Luke might have survived even if Linku spent 2 bars on it because of V-trigger scaling. So good decision making from Linku.
Yeah, Fandroid, Linku going to final game, final round. EX right under. Yeah, we have that bar. You can go far. Skate steps underneath the fireball. Gets in and enacts that close range gameplay. Love to see from Karen.
And I'm sorry for the guttural noises, but I gotta say, anytime I see EX Sapo go through a sandblast, man, that's satisfying.
Serotonin being popped.
Ooh, speaking of popped. Exposing down below again, counter hit, no conversion. Fandroid gets to do it again, uppercut. Watch out, you're guessing for game.
You guessed wrong. Fandroid moving on over Linku in the final game, final round. No blowout, but definitely to the limit with it. Fandroid able to solidify his neutral a little bit better. Man, what a great play, though, from Linku, I gotta say. He was turning up at the very end, just wasn't enough, and Fandroid himself just felt a little more confident in that last sequence.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there was a good amount of pensiveness coming in from Linku. We kind of saw the pressure at hand towards that last bit of gameplay. But how we got there was a very valid reason, right? Fandroid and his aggression and his offensive pressure has been so much for Linku to manage. But the same can be said with Linku, right? We started to see the recollection of confidence, right? Linku was starting to land some of these normals and get past some of the fireball traps as well from the sandblast and just overall dominate a good amount of the space in neutral despite being at the deficit. So we did see the flash of confidence from Linku. It just wasn't enough to hold out against the mental that Fandroid has with his offense.
Yeah, Fandroid's overall, his template of what he wants to do in the neutral is really great too. Switching from fireballs back and forth to normals and things like that, taking some off the table that weren't getting whip punished, and then when Linku wasn't whip punishing them continuously, we'll put him back on the table. Maybe not finding all the components all the time, but that's fine. He found enough damage and a poke to seal the deal. And when things went bad, when things went awry, he was able to stay solid and say, okay, maybe I didn't get the confirms that I wanted. Maybe I didn't get what I wanted previously, but I'm still going to be confident that I can get these hits to do it. I can still stay in the game. That's a mark of a really top player.
Again, that guess for game scenario was just so tough to even manage. It could have gone either way, but big ups to Linku showing a fantastic exhibition of that Karen versus the Luke matchup. I'm going to be taking a bunch of notes with the way that he's been performing, and you guys should be doing the same because Linku, again, from the Middle East, representing himself pretty well, coming in from the top 16 all the way up into the top 8. No easy feat. And I'm going to reiterate those words time and time again, but it still holds true. As it stands right now, we still have 6 players remaining, and we're going to get to those real soon. And speaking of real soon...
Is real soon. You know what's real soon? Coming soon is Street Fighter Duel. The Capcom authorized mobile game Street Fighter Duel is now available for download in China with a global version coming soon. The epic legend is reborn on mobile. Download Street Fighter Duel now and let's fight for each other and join the journey with millions of players to become the best fighter.
And we see that through the CPT as well. We do have the current registration going on right now for Asia East. It's going to be closing very, very soon, October 30th. I'm actually going to check my phone to see what date it is. It is today. Okay, well, hey, registration is going to be closing today. You got to make sure to sign up for it because this is your last shot to get into the big dance that is the Capcom Cup. That stream's going to be happening next week, November 5th and the 6th. The pre-show happening at pretty much a little bit past midnight for those residing in the West. That is Pacific Domestic Time. The stream going in live at 1 a.m. Pacific Time. Again, you want to make sure to register capcom.us/AE. Ladies and gentlemen, I highly encourage you guys to check it out because we have so much CPT action over the course of this month. In fact, hopefully we have that. There we go. Woo. Nice work, production. I see you. So we do take a little bit of a break after that week. Actually, no, it's going to be back-to-back Asia East and then straight up Asia. But a little bit after that. Then we take a break before we get into the big Europe East throwdown. Again, all your events going on in November. It's not even just the Capcom Pro Tour, but also, you know, little tidbits of Street Fighter League, which we'll get into eventually. So as it stands right now, we're still trying to find out who's going to make it for the Middle East. Things are getting hot and heavy indeed with 6 players remaining. We'll see who moves on after this break.
Time to fight, time to fight. Never give up, we won't retreat. The ones who stand have turned defeat. So fight, time to fight. Glory waits for those who fight. We unite, we are Street Fighters.
And welcome back to the CPT Middle East Tournament. We're still in the top 8 spot. We are left with 6 players, and we're going to see who's left to get that qualification seat. My name is St. Cola. I'm joined with Vicious. How are you doing, dog? How you feel about these matches we've been seeing?
Pretty much the same as ever. I mean, like top 16 going into top 8, had my blood pretty much pumping, and not at a healthy hour, I will say. You know, we've been doing these things from Pacific time pretty much at like 3:30 a.m. and I gotta say, it's unhealthy for my heart to see all this cool action, but it's not going to be stopping, and I'm truly blessed to see all this with you. Let's take a look at the bracket and see who we have left exactly from the winner's side, right? Angry versus Big, right? It's the duel of the birds, the faded showdown, but it's not going to be in ways you can expect. I'd imagine it's going to be potentially, you know, Ken versus Luke. Instead of like the Rashid that we've seen from Angry Bird, but that's just speculation, right? We're not even going to get into that just yet. It's going to be the losers quarterfinals down below, rather. GTR versus Bashar is what's coming up next, and boy, it's going to be pretty wild. All things considered, GTR had made a very, very close run against Big Bird with that Oro play. We've seen how much damage can be pumped out with that V-trigger. It can cause a lot of explosions, but Bashar, there's a way of playing Ed that just annoys a lot of people, right? It's death by 1,000 cuts, and it's primarily through flicker, which Bashar fully understands.
Like, that's kind of how he sets up shop. Puts the flicker on him and then sets up shop for the buttons and things like that. It's like, well, let me calm down a little bit. No, flicker comes through in the neutral, the Kara edition too, to get up that space. And then if he gets the EX bar, he's got that extension to carry you to the corner. Obviously, there's no Oki, but you're so close to the corner anyway from previous play that you're like, dang, what can I do against this character? And he keeps it pretty meaty, keeps it pretty tight too as well in terms of his pressure. So if you're GTR, you have to be looking for these moments to not get caught up in the corner continuously and not have to be forced to spend V-bar for V-reversal. We saw that in like the last round against, or second to last round, I should say, against Big Bird previously with GTR, where he spent the V-bar for the V-reversal, and I'm like, that is what you shouldn't be doing as Oro. What you want to do is pop that V-trigger and get that nice 70% of life off the table.
I mean, it really depends. I feel like there's certain situations where like it'd be useful for one event and not as much for the other. I don't think there's going to be as much of a damage output coming in from Ed off of like certain hits like that, off of like a medium punch and whatnot. But that's going to require a lot more meter, I feel like. But we'll see how it plays out, right? It could be a different kind of scenario. We might even see like a V-shift to punish certain things to get out of flicker range. But yeah, this is going to be the primary source of damage, right? Ticking away at lows into the flicker, right? Look, already at 50% because of how many times the flickers have landed. Now it's close to stun. We see the wake up parties from GTR, but it's not going to be enough. There we go. We were just waiting for the Tengu stones.
The whole time.
The chicken feet, instant air too. Bashar was ready for it.
EXDP. Right back at him.
Coming in too. Could he have extended that?
I wouldn't get medium off of that if he was able to hit the ground in time. Either way, GTR trying to stay fine up in this corner. Harassing with the plus frames with a medium kick. One of the best buttons of the character. EX fireball for the plus frames again. Bashar not biting on anything. And we got outside that corner too with the activation. Bad situation right here for GTR.
No anti-air. It was too tough, too sharp of an angle. I get that. Bashar didn't want to risk it. A single hit could blow him up, especially after the jump in. Plus frames after this. GTR not willing to risk it for EX. One touch away. Bashar knows it too. Just the light is all he needs, but he does have trigger and skill to get past the fireball, but just a little bit too shy. Crouching jab stops GTR from moving forward. First round goes to Bashar.
And again, that early game has definitely been about, let me put you in the corner with the flicker and then harass you over and over again to get that W. Anti right there with the medium. We talk about, I was going to say how much damage you can deal out as, you know, relying upon anti-airs and not using bar. But this is good. This is not good. The V-skill, the quick rise. He's there with the V-skill to knock down GTR up in the corner.
With the explosion down below, too far out to continue the combo though. Bashar knows it now. Back to the flicker strategy, exposing himself. Or excuse me, exposing GTR.
The X fireball. Stuns rising. Gotta make some executive decisions, but you're going broke.
You see it. You see the counter hits over and over too, not even just from this round specifically, but even in the previous round after the flickers had come out. There's just a little bit of unfamiliarity from GTR in regards to like the range and what to do after a flicker either lands or gets blocked.
Space trap. You know, you push to the distance where you think you can press, and then he clips you with that button for that express purpose. So again, that corner pressure has been ridiculous from Bashar, but we haven't seen much from GTR in terms of we saw the anti. That could have been a lot more damage. The V-trigger situations could have been a lot more damage too. So I do think that he has the right idea. Just needs to shore up these combos, get a few more things on. Oh, too far out for that
That's the
V-skill.
thing. It's like if you're talking about like GTR getting combos, right? I feel like it's not even like that. He needs to find the hit before talking about like landing these, or sorry, getting full on combos, right? I think there's a lot to be said in regards to the way Bashar has been controlling the pace thus far. I think we gotta get to the root, right? Like what happens here? Like we see the neutral being controlled by Bashar off of that crouching medium punch, and then and getting in there. But now GTR finding the jump in, that's one exposure to defense against Bashar.
This is the game I wanted to see right here for the corner carry. EXDP from Bashar. Gets himself outside the corner.
Seems like to that, but jump out from Bashar, trying to reassess the situation, or at least bring it back to neutral. There's the anti-air.
Right at the right range too. Not too sharp on the cross-up.
Yeah, you see GTR taking to the skies again, by the way, from that last instance. Again, just trying to get himself out of the corner. More often than not, he's gone to the skies 3 times, 4 times now, trying to expose Bashar, trying to test his reactions, and now instead, he gets a surprise delivery of trying to hold all of this V-trigger. Oh, I love the air-to-air too.
Trying to find an opening with the activation. Tatsu, through this season, but he's able to get anything off the back throw. Bashar now able to pull his triggers.
He's going to hold all of this. GTR is not even going to be able to use Tengu Stone. Yep. You see the counter hit. He was trying to press a button against the hold from Bashar, and he got counter hit for his shovels instead. And that's been the story pretty much the entire set thus far. Counter hits against GTR over and over again.
Trying to react and get his pressure started, but it's just not happening. Bashar now caught in the corner, too far out, and GTR going to take advantage of the situation. Tatsu DP. Lights, nothing off of that. Nothing big at least. Bashar switch up positions, trading places, spaces.
Dashing up, no check. That's got to be something for GTR to keep in mind, right? The anti-air still there, keeping the mental stack reduced as possible. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
They saw the scramble, didn't wait too long for the EXDP. It was super delayed. Heavy kick into the activation. The West Coast.
God, the amount of damage that comes out of this.
And there's still more.
Wasn't even close to done, by the way. He had like a sequence and a half. Look at the Blanca charm in the back, too. I love the little tidbits of like different Tengu stones that come in. And it also has like different properties to it. It's really cool.
GTR with that big boy damage going for the knockdown for the V skill, but quick rise of the V skill, yes.
He literally sees it coming, too. He tries to counter hit it, but still not in time. He's not familiar with the situation as much, right?
I wonder if each Tatsu will give you enough distance to get that V skill so that you're able to land that hit, but either way, Bashar knows the matchup, the quick rise. Side switch with the anti-air. Oh my god, a little bit of a mix with it. Needs command grab.
Do it again. It's the forward throw. That was pretty needy as well. Taking the turn, or sorry, keeping the turn. Shift out of there. A jacker fool. Do it again. Give yourself a plus scenario.
One more hit should do it. In the super, and now check the dash. That was it.
Didn't get it. Just enough damage. Bashar in full control, 2 games straight. We're starting to see that familiarity really coming to light. Unfamiliarity coming to light against the matchup from GTR, right? We've seen him kind of set up shop with the fireball game, and it all pretty much went downhill when he wasn't able to punish that V skill. It just happened to be Bashar's favor after getting that momentum shift. It was very significant too. Like you see, like the blatant change of the pace in regards to like that moment being pretty much a missed opportunity for GTR.
Gotta make the most of it with this character. Game point here for Bashar. Comes in with the crumple. 6-piece knockdown, trying to get the throw. No go, but the stun's still high right here. GTR does not want to be up in this corner. And you see that Bashar has backed up enough, so if you do get a jump in, I'm going to anti you nice and easy.
Forward exposure. Okay, again, fighting the jump in against Bashar.
It's a good sign.
I think that's 2 times over thus far in the entire set where he's had a successful jump in. Oh my god, blocking the overhead. But the low gets exposed. Yes, sir. You're already dead.
Optimal. No bar necessary. GTR gets to save for the next round.
I'm glad, too, because if he had lived off of the command grab, I think there would have been some dire consequences if Bashar would have landed a hit afterwards.
I guess all his bar to play with. EX Fireball if need be to lock down the neutral, or just get that EX confirmed with a command grab and side switch. Crush off the heavy. He was ready.
Look at the damage.
God, I love those combos.
And still getting success with the cycle up. Man, Bashar's got that like, what, 3 times over? I think it's like 100% on uppercuts.
Seems like it.
Ooh, nothing really after that, but that's fine. GTR does get the exposure against Bashar of a counter hit. Yeah, sends him back, sends out the Yodama. Do it again. Gets to extend the combo. Yagyo Dama again. Oh no, EX Fireball, but it's fine. Sets up the boogs. Here we go. It's boogie time.
One more touch, and he gets him with a crouching medium punch to seal it. And I like that he actually went for the EX Fireball instead of the V-skill first. Lock it down with the plus frames, put up the V-skill, really cover your approach, and covering his bases with that crouching medium punch to seal it. Still in the game, GTR. Better round starts too, not relying upon just V-trigger to take the W.
Yeah, I think there was also a big significant factor with Bashar. I think the mental stack is slowly starting to get to him because it's the second time he's been exposed to a big jump in. And I think those are the rounds where he's actually losing. So GTR, as shallow as that analysis as that was, like sometimes the jump ins are working, but I wouldn't rely on him too much. GTR almost found an opening right then and there, but Bashar was just barely off the mark.
He's hunting for that. Gets the counter hit. Yeah, that back rise allows you to get that B skill, and that's where it's not as punishable. Bashar has to go for the quick rise if he wants to get in that distance.
Ooh,
nice
the jump in anticipation from Bashar. Look at the amount of damage you get off of that. Yeah, you get to expose. Yeah, that's super meaty off the V skill too. Forward into the corner.
Pull another one. Almost about even here. And another one.
He did move again. Dash up. Oh, alive. Tengu first.
Ooh, getting handsy.
Oh, that's
and he went to EX that would have sealed it.
I think even like a heavier version would have sealed it too, right?
You're right. Maybe heavy Tatsu. Now the wait and bait.
There we go.
Little jab right there just to test the waters.
It was a
too hot.
Yeah, like, that was going to be like a safe meaty regardless, right? Off of those lights because you recover just in time to get yourself safe away from the uppercut.
ETR, not done yet. Plus frames with the medium kick.
He's destroying the fabric of time with a single button. ETR keeping Bashar in check.
Ooh. Space time continuum. The way on the counter hit, but nothing off that light kick.
Oh, we'll take that trade for GTR and EX uppercut. Bashar now ready for it. There we go, exposing the V skill 2 usage, getting a giant whiff punish at that, setting up Yagyo. Oh, that trade-off is still going to be able to... Yeah, Bashar gets to continue the combo with a light after that, that's for sure.
And get some distance. Oh, careful. I thought he was going to get hit. Honestly, anti-aired right there. Breaks with the armor. The throw. Locking down with the EX frames.
Too close, though. Oh, sorry, too soon, I should say.
You see the stutter step with the... doesn't matter. EX coming through. And the Tatsu once again. GTR getting a win and giving us more games. Staying stable in the corner position where he wasn't previously. He was caught pressing buttons continuously, and now he waits just long enough to come out.
We're starting to see the adaptations being made from GTR against the defensive capabilities that Bashar had been resorting to, right? Some of the EX uppercuts getting blown up, also some of the delayed normals getting blown up too. So I do like seeing this from GTR, keeping it mad close in every set that he's been playing thus far, playing from the tail end of it too. Also breaking the fabric of time, Bashar throwing in some of the fireballs too. Ooh, crush counter just in time. Speaking of, oh no, too far for the combo to hit.
Gets the side switch off the, and now the whip punch again. Same that distance where the V skill's going to whip. His command grab's coming through too as well to switch up the position, put him in a right position for that W. Oh, he could have got a whip punish on the crouch. When he kicks the crush, connects, and allows that activation. Back to mid-screen.
Check the movement as well. Bashar gets plus frames after that V-trigger, breaking the guard. Here we go yet again. So much chip damage. Out of the corner is GTR, but at what cost? Not too bad. Not too bad of a toll paid.
The activation, how can he stay solid? He doesn't. Gets opened up with the knees, if you please. And GTR back from the brink on set point, breaking through the defense of Bashar continuously.
And taking the risk, too, of that jump out. He assessed the risk and reward. He took a little bit amount of damage. It's just a price to pay to get yourself reassessed, or at least back into the mid-screen for that control. And now Bashar not really able to set up shop like he did prior with those flickers, right? Not as many space traps as we saw before.
He's not in the distance to even do anything, so I like that from GTR. Keep him outside that right range. Yeah, backs up. I'm on crouching medium punch range and just gets a walk in. Fireball situation. Get comfortable and comfortably jumping in. Feet on this man's couch.
Do it again?
EX.
That throw was stunned. Oh, and Bashar knew it. There was a delayed normal from the side of GTR. Jack a fool plus frames, forward throw, but now what happens?
Backdash still in range.
Another snatcher. I think another throw will lead to a big KO potentially. Oh, he's looking for the throw bait.
This defense though from GTR. Want to walk back and block, and he's out of the corner.
Yeah.
And now looking for the activation.
He's going to get it. Frame, it's going to happen. EX uppercut. I love that from Bashar. Forward throw. Is it enough? It's not yet.
Still alive?
And he tried to go for a throw. GTR was in a guess for game scenario, and Bashar finally getting that throw bait. Match point. Final round.
No donuts here. Everyone fighting for their lives on the loser side. Off the low. Great starter for the EX. That's up top of the fireball. But the jump, and you can't be doing that, my friend. GTR taking the skies. Sets up for the B skill.
Gets it set up. Bullet hell now. B skill 2 coming into play. Bashar just within the right range, forcing the block against GTR. Oh, no uppercut there. Conversion, yes sir, off of the lights.
Now gets to continue that pressure. Off that EX extension. GTR would love to block one or two more normals just to get that activation. And there it is. Bashar looking for it. Oh, you can't jump. Oh, yes, you can, I guess. In that right range. GTR was not ready.
Oh, and this is going to be so tough for GTR. That feature was winding down. Bashar has all the defense. Looking so sturdy. Trigger no longer a threat. Actually, critical art is, though. Oh, boy. Can't take another one.
The trade. With the super at the bottom, you can't throw out a fireball. GTR looking for that.
Oh, boy. You can actually get chipped to death now.
Oh, this is the EX bar. Either way, GTR survived to take down Bashar. Had him in a cleanup situation. Either way, GTR was either going for the chip, no dip, went for the EX bar to harass him in that corner, and now we see GTR shoring up what he had to do. The defense, the offense, all of it perfectly aligned. But I will say that went to the limit. That went to the distance in the final game, final round. But man, just to get back in the projectile gameplay that we typically see from Oro, especially against a character that has the V-skill to skate step through the fireballs, like Ed, I'd like to see that confidence here from GTR, saying, I will find a way to play against that. Maybe I'll back off a bit, let you whip, and I'll find the whip punishes. And we didn't see that much from Bashar in terms of dealing with the firewall pressure. Towards the end, he started getting really pensive because of those situations.
And I gotta say also big ups to GTR for creating the space against Bashar to not leave him susceptible to some of these big openings that Bashar had, right? I think, the jumpers were pretty prevalent against the fireball game. The flickers were also a pretty important factor against GTR. And I just do like the fact that GTR, again, playing to his odds, right? He wants to play the spacing game a little bit more often than not against someone like Ed, using crouching medium punches too. There were a couple of shining moments for Bashar, getting some of these big crush counters as well, some of these big sequences off of V-trigger too. Not necessarily getting like offensive openings, but more so like keeping plus frame pressure, chipping away for life, and also getting like the real estate too, like forcing Oro into the corner. But towards the end, I will say just it was a matter of resources from GTR. You see that big confirm and a slight delay. Getting the medium kick frame trap counter hit actually against Bashar is what ultimately led to the victory. Just the timing overall, Bashar, we started to see that pressure build up, and eventually he gave up and succumbed to pressing buttons. But as it stands right now, GTR is the only one keeping it very close and very and in a very scary situation overall. 3-2 again for the man in control. Now it's going to be Volcano Russo going up against Fandroid.
Man, I wonder what that's going to be because, again, Volcano Russo having a full roster of characters to utilize. Easy going to go for Luke mirror match. We do see Luke up on the screen. Could mean that we might see that mirror match, but we also might see the Guile come through. He's been playing that character quite a bit in the World Warrior tournaments and other tournaments too as well. That's the one I've seen the most of when I review some of his data. But again, this man having a lot of characters is going to be beneficial because I feel like if things aren't running well in the mirror match, which is like very player to player, you can run a normal match. I think that Guile can keep up with Luke. We've seen that in Street Fighter League Japan. We've seen that in other areas where the character can keep up with the fireball game, the normals. I think Guile can do a just fine job if you are not comfortable with the mirror match.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll see if we even get to that point. I think Volcano Russo has proven that he's done a pretty decent job with this Luke. I think he has what it takes. He understands like the combo routes. He understands what happens in the neutral. I think we'll see how this plays out overall because Linku had rocked out with that. Fandroid had rocked out with that Luke as well in a pretty good manner. But as it stands right now, I think the mirror match has to go out first. In a 3 out of 5 scenario, I think like getting that information in the first place, whether a counter pick is solicited, is going to be important, right? I don't know necessarily what the record is between Volcano Russo and Fandroid, but just based off of current records, if I was like a stats guy, I think Volcano Russo being in this situation of a top 8, like he's gotten 4th before from last year.
That's true.
Currently 5th in the leaderboard. So I'm pretty sure they are no strangers to each other because Fandroid is currently in 6th place in the overall rankings for the World Warrior events over in the Middle East. So I'd imagine, you know, there is a lot of familiarity between each other. Volcano Russo from Turkey, Fandroid from Kuwait. There's going to be a pretty solid Luke handshake first going into this match.
So handshake I'd like to avoid, but we'll see if he needs to avoid that, because honestly, as we pointed out, first of 3 gives you a little bit more time to deliberate on where you want to, you know, switch up if need be. Sometimes it's a character, you know, problem. Sometimes it's a player problem. So you have a bit more time to deliberate than what yesterday was when it was the first of 2. However, that's still important to understand when to switch. Do you switch early? Do you switch a little bit later? Depending on the type of player that you are, how heated up you are, and how the other player is, that's going to be very important. It's just as difficult of a decision to make.
Now let's talk about the mirror match itself, right? Luke versus Luke. What's funny is he has the perfect tools against himself. Right?
Yeah.
You talk about like the normals he has, like they're very far-reaching and they're great for counter poking. Well, guess what? Like you're in the mirror match, he's going to be doing the exact same thing. So it's just a matter of like, I think being in the right spaces. I think there's going to be so much within the mind game. There's going to be like a very much so a rock paper scissors game, right? You're talking about like the medium punches that are going to be in play for the counter poking. You're looking for like the low medium kicks as well. It's going to be a very big test of wits and reactions. I think there's going to be a lot of testing of certain distances where it's like, all right, well, I'm going to try to like tease this idea of maybe going for a low forward, especially when I have meter, and also trying to counter poke said normals with like crouching medium punch too. I think there's going to be a lot of that going on within the Luke mirror match. If they don't even want to play that game, it could just be a bunch of sandblasters being thrown. Who knows? Who knows?
But it's going to be some Luke either way. Luke on Luke action out here at the Middle East tournament. I also think that in the ends of the rounds, as they go down, when they get V-trigger, that's going to be very important too. Whoever gets V-trigger first can help keep that lead and keep it a little bit more stable. Let's see.
You see the V-skill too from the side of Volcano Russo? I do like that a lot. I would love to see maybe like a 2-set completely, but that'd be pretty dope. Fandroid already off to a fantastic start.
Sandblasters, as you were talking about, but you gotta watch out for that back heavy kick. That's a good anti projectile move, and this is a good move to catch people from leaving. DP.
It was coming out eventually. Fandroid had teased the idea with the low forwards, and now he's doing so again. Activation plus frames. Still being able to apply pressure. Thermal Barrack has the anti-air. I like that, being able to charge the V-skill because he knocked him so far back. Volcano Russo has a lot to catch up with. Medium kick as the check, being able to cancel off of that is important. Yet again, Fandroid nice and easy with the confirm, right? Low forward fireball, V-trigger, doesn't even need to spam the X-Proc.
And that takes the fireball game off the table for a little bit. That V-trigger being able to solidify the neutral. And again, you get that lead, you can keep that lead with the V-trigger in this matchup. Fandroid answering back with the target combo and the Oki fade away. Nice finesse and bless.
I love the Oki after the flash knuckle too. Keeping Volcano Russo in check. Fandroid in complete control, plus frames. Sorry, no, he actually knocking him down. Cross-cut DP, that's all she wrote. Guaranteed. That's going to be V-step charge up. Doesn't even need the rest of it. Off the wall, off the backboard. Didn't even matter. He was dead before that.
Far before that. Pulse is gone, but what's gone right now is all the health on the side of Volcano Russo. I wonder at this point, do you switch? It feels like he doesn't really have a handle, just yet at least, on how the mirror match plays, and that's difficult. Like you're not preparing for like a matchup. Is like, okay, this character is weak in this, he's strong in this. That makes sense. But in a mirror match, it's something different. It's hard to study because you are playing a lot of the player, and there are moments where you can play that character, right? But you're still understanding how to play the player even more so. So I do wonder if this is going to elicit a switch. Volcano Russo.
Yeah, solicited or not, I gotta say, the way that Fandroid has been playing, I think it looks like he's ready for whatever character Volcano Russo brings up. But I would love to see it, though.
Yeah.
I would genuinely love to see maybe like the potential Guile switch. I think Guile does a pretty decent job. And of course, Decline. We need more Luke players. Not enough of them out there. And I will say, what's funny about that is, to a certain degree, I will agree. I think there's not enough Luke players that play at the caliber that's expected. Sure,
Okay, right.
Yeah, so like taking it from like that perspective, I don't think there's a lot of Luke players that can really fully utilize like the potential that he has. Sure, we see a bunch of players that could use Luke,
right,
but they can't pilot Luke. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yo, thank you.
I'm just saying, man.
I'm glad somebody said it. I'm glad. Honestly, how many Luke players do you see winning continuously in tournaments? We saw out in Street Fighter League Japan.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know, you're not just because you pick up Luke doesn't mean you're gonna get a W. And Volcano Russo knows that. He's going back to his old bay, the Guile play.
Yeah, as much as I hear that kind of like same sentiment of like, oh, Luke this, Luke that, I was like, yeah, that was like in the early phases of the game when he was out, but like nowadays, like, do you see him winning as much? You have 2 in the Capcom Cup, sure, but like it's still hard to pilot online.
Exactly.
Damn!
See, this is a big switch up. Volcano Russo back in the driver's seat.
Back from the dead, too, just in time for Halloween. We got the zombie guile. Whoever decided to make this costume, first of all, good call, yeah. Second of all, man, you guys did a great job. He looks mad scary when they do like the up close in the windscreen.
Oh yeah, flash missing from the cheek, and right now Volcano Russo looks super scary. Cross cut flash kick, that is not easy. I'll tell you that right now. EX Fireball, as soon as he saw the V skill,
yeah, like you can't cross cut a charge move. It's just delaying it to like the last potential bit of time you can execute it. That's the problem. It's not cross cut necessarily in terms of like what the action is, or in terms of like what you see on the screen. It's actually the input, right? So if it's a charge move, he's just chilling. It's just a matter of like the point of execution, the timing of the execution.
That right moment. And everything's landing right here for Volcano Russo. He's caught in the corner though. How's that defense? Oh, the roll flash kick. I love it.
Oh, you're hella dead. At what cost though? I get it. Fandroid again. Spin it to win it. I get it. Good amount of damage, but now what happened? Damn, he knocked the jaw out of it too.
What was left at least? Fandroid. As you said, spin a lot of bar. That means the Fireball game is going to be better for Volcano Russo. Doesn't have to really worry about the EX Fireball as much until it comes through. Anti-air right there. But the challenge on the way down with the target combo. Okay.
Perfect timing on the jump in. Fandroid fully anticipating the Sonic Boom. No big ups on the counter poke. Sorry, here we go. Volcano Russo, despite getting that counter hit jab, still manages to get a crush counter and a side switch, but not enough to keep Fandroid from pressing buttons.
It's not done yet. Medium, that was connected. That would have been it. Fandroid, around that EX bar to get the knockdown. Doesn't get going for the Oki. EX bar from the side of a Fandroid. This is what we wanted to see. Get that EX bar to get that knockdown. And the shots, once again, one more touch for the win. Make them up. Doesn't even need to. The crouch mini kick comes through. Fandroid still solidified even with the switch of Volcano Russo. Wow.
We did see the potential that we initially saw in the first round from Volcano Russo. We saw him pretty much run rampant against the Luke from Fandroid. I think there's a lot of potential there, but as it stands right now, I think Fandroid had made a good amount of calls against the Sonic Booms, and it's no easy feat too, because like Sonic Booms have always been like a huge deterrent for a lot of players. The fact that there's more recovery now makes Volcano Russo has to second guess some of his placements with Booms. Right there we go.
You know, that's those good buttons of dial that he has. The back fist, but too far out in that distance. If Fandroid was ready, he's steady. Big punish right here in the chaser for the corner carry. V-trigger 2 from the side of Volcano Russo. He's gonna be looking for hit confirms to make the most out of it.
Ooh, I don't know about all that though.
Don't know about all that.
Again. Yeah, he's giving it away. He's giving it away at this point with the trigger 2. Not a lot of success with it. Fandroid completely ready for it, 100%. It's not even just Luke anymore. It's definitely a Volcano Russo issue right now. EX uppercut. That's a Luke moment. All right, we'll take that. It's fine. I was going to say the flash is coming in too.
EX gets the knockdown. Volcano Russo now going in for Oki instead of waiting and baiting. Cross-cut DP. Now you're caught up on the corner.
Oh, that's going to be huge. Crush counter. Make the most of it. Launch him up. Flash kick. Freight trap. No, he actually sets him down. Fandroid chose jump as an option. This is going to be pivotal. Fandroid chases him down. Forward throw. When's the trigger going to happen? There it is. Watch out for the freight trap. Instead of the throw again, you're actually close to death, Volcano. Oh, you know, that's fine too.
We're going to activate either way and going to go with the chip if need be, but now gets to walk in next round for free with all that bar at the bottom. Again, being able to contest the fireball situation. But Fandroid was ready for that option. Blocks it, goes in. You still have the bar for the corner carry. Anti-air right there. Checking the skies. But the whip. No. You've seen these awkward angles continuously against Luke players. Understanding that horizontal range.
Oh my God. Fandroid jumped on wake up while Volcano Russo was mid-air.
The I know that you know. Against the DP, the fireball's flying.
Oh, you're hella dead. Fandroid taking advantage of Volcano Russo's tendencies to wake up with buttons on that one. Fandroid also got pretty lucky in terms of jumping out on his defensive, or as his defensive option towards the corner. I will say to his benefit, that was an excellent call out against Volcano Russo. Now overtaking and actually eliminating the man out of the previous placements he could have had, right? Coming in from fourth last year, now out of the running. Fandroid rewriting history for himself in the Middle East. Again, we saw how it went down for the Luke mirror match. Fandroid completely ready for it. as we saw nothing but dominance in that mirror match.
Also ready for the Gao, super steady. We saw him delete a lot of the fireballs off the table with the EX fireball from his side, and just playing the defensive tendencies of Volcano Russo in the corner. I did like that Volcano Russo was looking for these DPs, going for these neutral jumps and things like that, or jumps out at an awkward range, but it just wasn't enough to solidify it as Fandroid makes a big upset, seals the deal.
Oh, that was actually really unfortunate for Russo, man. That was, who would have thought that was coming?
Yeah, who would usually wake up, neutral jump? Doesn't happen like that.
Too. Like that was, like Volcano Russo, I think he was anticipating maybe like an EX uppercut. But even with that neutral jump, I feel like the EX uppercut, I think it still would have hit. Because, like, sure, it moves him forward a little bit, so I get the idea. But even so, like, I'd have to test that out. I want to see, like, if that was actually a real bait towards the EX uppercut, or even, like, a throw bait. So I understand the sentiment, but Volcano Russo not finding success. 3-0 for Fandroid. That's going to give us this moment right here. GTR versus Fandroid. GTR is trying to climb his way back up to good graces. Fandroid making his run, the run of a lifetime, really, coming in from loser's side. We're going to see who moves on. But, of course, we still have the Flight of the Birds to take care of. That's coming out real soon. And speaking of real soon, we talk about this each and every time. The Capcom authorized mobile game. Street Fighter Duel is now available for download in China, with a global version coming out where Ultra David's from, the future, coming out real soon. The epic legend is reborn on mobile. Download Street Fighter Duel now if you're in China, and let's fight for each other and join the journey with millions of players in China to become the best fighter.
And if you're looking for new suits for your characters, look out at who takes the W, because the winner will earn a tracksuit. Unlock a tracksuit for all of us. The new tracksuit costumes are coming your way. The event's winning character will unlock the following on Tuesday. So it's time to root for the players representing your favorite characters to get these new costumes free. Now, we've been seeing a lot of great action out here. A big upset as Fandroid moves on over Volcano Russo. We might be seeing more upsets in store. When we return for this break, more Street Fighter V action. Don't go nowhere.
Time to fight, time to fight. Never give up, we won't retreat. The ones who stand have turned to defeat. So fight, time to fight. Glory waits for those who fight. We unite, we are Street Fighters.
So then, you really want to go through the trouble? Fine.
Oh, we caught him in end zone! Wheeled back in his seat. He's like, this is your first time tuning into Street Fighter League? Where have you been? We've been waiting for you.
This is Street Fighter League.
Looks like I can have a little fun now.
We're about to take you on a mad, wild journey.
Oh my God. I was actually in awe.
Street Fighter League is coming to see who is the best in the world. And I'll tell you right now, it's only the beginning.
I will fight you.
Gachiku!
Oh wow,
Gachiku. Oh, that is really unfortunate. You saw that exchange right there. We've seen something open with punish it a couple of times, but the jump back, Kino stealing it all back from Gachiku. You can't jump in the corner. What are you doing? Oh!
Yeah.
Oh my God, just 1 second left and it runs out the clutch. Just teasing, just lots of tea. Get the kettle warmed up.
And he gets the stun. That was nasty.
It's even more an international players ball. We're getting players from all over the world. And I said it before, but we're getting the best players here to show you guys off.
No time to be wasted.
I think there's gonna be more than enough to jump in.
There's no escape.
That was actually perfect.
That was actually ridiculous. Can I get the digital scissors on that, please?
Let's begin.
Look, if you're at home watching, please know that you're watching history right now. Best players in the world. This is a dope set of Street Fighter.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for the pinnacle of Street Fighter V, look no further.
Sometimes I hunt for the
Look at the crowd going mad.
Oh my God.
That's gonna do it. Gotcha, got it. He is your champion.
Hold up.
Hell yeah!
Oh,
no.
Which. What was that?
Clip that. Was that the
That
low
was
orb
so
in the air?
sick.
He is your back-to-back champion. Ladies and gentlemen, the new guard takes out the legend.
This one is where dreams are made.
I said
USA invades the stage here.
And I cannot express how much this means to
But this morning I chose to wake up. Everything.
There's no escape.
Anything. Everything. I swear I'm ready.
Let's do this.
Bring it on. It's not enough. Let's party. Everything. Tell them I'm ready for anything.
You have just tuned in to the culmination of years of work.
Press the other way. Somebody call an ambulance. Not for me, but for you.
Is the best, without a doubt, Street Fighter V player in the world.
So don't you ever think y'all go back me down. Woo! Swear right now I'm ready to fight.
Only 4 remain here in the CPT Middle East, and it's going to be a pretty big one as we address the elephant in the room between the two birds who will send who to their doom. My name is Vicious, here with Sankola, and I gotta say, man, I'm really excited to see how this plays out because only one bird gets to move on into the grand final spot. So it's going to be a lot of animosity, but never on a personal level, because we always talk about Angry Bird, Big Bird being pretty much brothers at this point, training partners in arms, and have been through the trenches pretty much every single year. So it's going to be very exciting to see what kind of gameplay, what kind of characters are going to come into play within this matchup. So what we can expect is, as we take a look into the bracket, in case you had missed all the matches prior, we could expect the Luke versus the Ken matchup, or we might see a little bit of pride there where it's going to be the Ken mirror match as we saw from last year's CPT.
That's true. I mean, Angry Bird's been making a lot of good runs with that character, doing a lot of good work this year, and proving that he can play the character too as well. But again, there's a large roster of characters that they can utilize. Angry Bird with the Zeku could come through it too as well. We saw the Ibuki in one of the more recent World Warrior events that he has done, but I think that it's going to be picked between the two. So for Angry Bird, probably, you know, the Rashid or the Ken. For Big Bird, Luke or the Ken.
This truly is Duel of the Fates. Every time I see it, man, there aren't a lot of moments where we get to see the birds play off against each other in this sort of atmosphere, in this kind of tournament, right? We do see them play each other maybe in like in a more like jovial occasion, such as like streaming or whatever. They'll post it on Twitter where they, you know, show some of the things they've been, you know, practicing against each other. But when it comes to like all seriousness, when it comes to like the spot at Capcom Cup, this is where it gets the most interesting, right? 100%. You just think about it, right? You have players that know each other inside out. Like they're pretty much every known strategy to man that they've developed with each other is going to be at play here.
Yeah.
Right?
They've been doing it together for this long, but it's going to have to be something different on the table for both players. Winners finals, Angry Bird, Big Bird. Let's get it. The winner of this moves on to Grands. Oh my God.
This is the one.
This is the one. Ken versus Luke, as you called.
See the exposure down below with the low medium kick back-to-back ones. Angry Bird not necessarily confident with the big confirms, but he's still going to get damage nonetheless with the fireball. So Big Bird now trying to get out of those ranges, throwing some of those normals as a counter poke against Angry Bird, but Angry Bird's been kind of reacting to Big Bird's positioning on the screen mostly.
I love that. Use the fireballs as a poke too as well. Careful, because there could be a DP right through, but he's just making it so ambiguous where he wants to stand. Big Bird pushing him to the corner, but I feel like Angry Bird's not deterred. Like he's comfortable. Ultra feed.
Yes, sweep indeed. Angry Bird now on the back foot. Angry Bird is still, he was trying to hold out until some of the Sandblasters or the Thermobaric disappeared, but now he's trying to be in control. Angry Bird catching him, moving too far up, low forward, the big exposure. Roundhouse crush counter hit, excuse me.
Counter hit right there, but Angry Bird not get too much of it. He'll find something off the fadeaway. Fearsome play in the DP. Dash in, waits and baits, and Angry Bird taking the first one. The tumbleweed.
So significant at that. Angry Bird has been in control against Big Bird, catching him at max distance, low forward, a good amount of times. And Big Bird just stopped outside of that range to get the target combo. Now he gets to punish Angry Bird for his movement, cross-cut DP.
Nice, caught him leaving. Back to the screen. They get that medium punch, working its way against that crouching medium kick of Angry Bird's Ken. And the bumper set himself up, shot for the crouching medium kick in the light kick, the stun, and done. Accuracy stars like Hollywood Boulevard. Perfect KO. What a rebuttal from Big Bird.
That's quite the statement to be made, too. One of the biggest things we've seen in regards to adaptation, Big Bird immediately took to that strategy, right? Just hovering outside of the low-medium range. But now he's being a little bit more aggressive. Angry Bird taking a couple of more steps back. I love that confirm off the counter hit. That link takes forever, but it's so satisfying.
Sweep against the medium kick. He's not recovering on that to deal with the button. I like that Angry Bird's looking out for that. And I like that he's flying his kid first into super. This won't kill, but it will put him in prime position. He's going to put him in the corner in a two-touch scenario.
I love that. Overextending just a little bit. Big Bird now getting a good amount of damage. It's up to Angry Bird to withstand all this pressure. Sandblaster, he's alleviating himself from any sort of threat up close. And of course, the check from Angry Bird. Big Bird thinking he was just going to sit back and relax with this life lead. Still, the fundamentals come into play. The standing light kicks, more than enough damage.
Great stuff for Angry Bird to route it back. I feel like sometimes we see him over the years overextend a little bit too often, and he's been getting better and better about having a game plan where he's like, all right, I can get aggressive and turn down when I need to and get that W. So Big Bird has to adjust to that same sort of momentum, that same sort of rhythm with him, and kind of dance with him. I like that medium punch overall, and I like the forward fierce. Doesn't get the conversion that he'd like, but he'll still get this Oki off the medium.
Yeah, he got a whip punish off the heavy punch from Angry Bird as well. So we see Angry Bird looking to press some bigger buttons against Big Bird off of some of these leads too. Here we go. Tatsu out of the corner off of that confirm. Back throw. They're gonna look at it.
Stuns rising. Backs off. Right into the medium kick. Activation. In the drop, and Angry Bird, because I'm not gonna let that rock. Trade, but still in favor of Big Bird with the medium.
And that's going to be tough. Angry Bird cannot move with the amount of Sandblasters, but he can fly. That's totally fine. Who talks about, being a regular, land staying Angry Bird having, like, he wasn't just going to stay to the ground, man. Of course he was going to take off.
Not a penguin out here.
This bird can fly, that's for sure.
Look at this, guys. Back heavy kick against the fireballs. I think right range too as well. So not strange to see it. You've seen that delete fireballs off the table. And now the whip punish. Angry Bird committing to some of these buttons and Big Bird noticing.
Man, the stare down too. Looking at who's going to strike first with the low medium kicks. Oh, there we go. A big hit. Now the chaser afterwards. EX uppercut's going to get severely punished. Oh, I lied. There's a reset instead.
Throw right after, and the meek right after too. Big Bird. Again, now adjusting the rhythm that Angry Bird wants to do and putting Angry Bird into positions where he's committing to heavy kick, fierce, and things like that, and fireballs where he shouldn't. Woohoo!
Setting him on fire. Angry Bird back to spacing his low medium kicks against Big Bird to stop him from moving forward, but still, Big Bird is not going to be deterred. Ooh.
Watch the forward fierce. He tried to take back his turn. Angry Bird getting a little bit of damage and putting the fireballs back on the table.
The fireballs have been getting a lot of mileage for Angry Bird as well. Great poking tool against Angry Bird thus far. Sorry, against Big Bird thus far.
Crushing the kick, caught him walking in. Goes in for the V-skill run. EX fireball also to cut through some of these situations of zoning. Big Bird has to make a desperate climb back up. This will help. Trigger in the push to the corner.
Explosion down below. Wait a minute. Oh, he missed. That was like a fake meaty too. Big Bird was trying to bait something out. Ended up walking up to Big Bird and getting back thrown. That was really, really unfortunate. I don't know what the plan was for Big Bird. I get, the little frame kill with the crouching jab to kind of maybe anticipate a button. or sort of like kind of provoke a button. But still, he took like a step and a half towards Big Bird, and of course that delayed throw eventually caught him. What is it? Angry Bird's up 2-0 now.
That's right. So at this point, I don't think you should switch if you're Big Bird. I think the problem has nothing to do with the character. It's just finding the right confirms, making sure everything counts when you do get those confirms, and playing again to the pace that Angry Bird wants to do, or you're through, because this is game point Angry Bird.
I think there's a lot to be said in regards to like how Angry Bird's preventing Big Bird from getting some of these confirms, right? I think like him switching it up between checking the spacing with low medium kicks into like fireball pokes has been very potent for the most part, and Big Bird hasn't found a way against it just yet.
And the back heavy kick kind of came through the fireballs, but again, that spacing, him walking back enough to let these fireballs rock, and not giving up too much room. You see him walk forward too as well, not giving up too much room to be up in the corner.
Oh, and we see him trying to counter against the low medium kick. Big Bird, he has the intention of getting some of these whiff punishes, just not in time. So Angry Bird being able to take full advantage of that. Back throw now. This is where Big Bird gets to shine. No, nothing. Crouching jab counter hit off of Angry Bird.
Catch the V-ship. Well, I make the most of this V trigger. He's got the V skill suppressor, suppressing this man trying to leave the corner.
Oh, I thought he was going to do it again. He gets to set up shop again for it. And the fierce ringing out loud. Big Bird shutting down Angry Bird. I don't even know. I didn't get to see a counter hit, per se. I might have just missed it because I'm old. But he clipped Angry Bird, and I think it was from trying to move out of the corner instead of pressing a button.
Still, Big Bird staying alive. Like setting up that counter hit, unfortunately wasn't able to do so. Angry Bird going back to the fierce, heavy kick and crouching the kick.
The big interruption!
Stop right there, criminal scum. And more of that B skill 2 usage too as well from Big Bird.
I love that. Way out of the corner. Forward throw now. Angry Bird with all the momentum. Still chasing up. Yes, sir! Big confirm! You gotta be hella dead.
Smokes here delivered. Angry Bird on set point.
Jesus. And this is unprecedented. I feel like I would never imagine it being this one-sided for the Birds, right? We do see a round apiece for both sides, but Angry Bird still having 2 games over his brother in arms.
Confident gets that DP punish on the fireball. That's just a bit too close. Big Bird not spacing on his fireballs right. It might be good night. It's getting close to stun.
Yeah, you're going to be eating a lot of damage incoming. He needs at least one more touch. Even with the X, overhead could be it.
One more should do it.
The throw tag. Angry Bird's still aware of it. Not willing to just take the throw. Crosscut DP. Crosscut DP one. Again.
The reversal. But this is still good. Angry Bird just needs one touch. Can't be lacking or slacking if you're Big Bird.
And it could be off of the light too. Yeah, we see it. Standing light kick. Big Bird needs to tread softly. He needs to tread very carefully. And he gets clipped. Angry Bird taking it down 3-0 in a significant fashion with this Ken moving himself into the winner's seat of the grand finals.
Wow, what a fantastic play. Utilizing those fireballs against a character that does have quicker fireballs. Could knock you down with the EX, but feeling confident enough to use it as a poke alongside the other buttons, the crouch medium kick, the heavy kick, the fierce. And when someone get countered, he take him off the table for a little bit and switch it up. He just did such a good job of keeping up pace when need be, backing off when need be too as well. And we didn't see the EXDPs fly as he used to. We didn't see like him go overextending to get the W and things like that. We saw him play such a patient game and then have explosive moments to get the win. I'm very impressed by Angry Bird's play right here, but not for nothing, Big Bird has some great moments. It's just shoring things up in terms of getting those conversions and playing at that same pace as Big Bird, or Angry Bird.
Yeah, so Angry Bird's done a great job of keeping that active defense alive, right? There was a lot to be said in regards to him checking the movement, him switching up into the fireball game as an extended poke, and also kind of reducing the risk with standing light kick followed with a buffer. I think Angry Bird had gone through like the wheel of options in such an effective manner where it kept Big Bird guessing, and he was guessing incorrectly the majority of the time. Big Bird had been susceptible to so many of the tools that Angry Bird was throwing out there, and it was actually kind of wild that it led up to this point, right? 3-0 is something completely unprecedented in regards to how these two play overall against other players. But like, you know, bringing it down to these two facing off head to head, I would have expected it to be a lot closer. But it doesn't tell the entire tale. Like, we'll say this time and time again. There were a couple of rounds that were coming in from Big Bird. It just wasn't enough to close out. We see the amount of damage and the input that Ken can get. So Angry Bird fully capitalizing on the big openings against Big Bird.
I think if you're like throwing out the fireballs at a minus range, that shows Big Bird being not very comfortable in the spacing that he wants to be, and Angry Bird being very comfortable. We saw the GP come through on block, and I think that's that confidence that Angry Bird has, that aggression that he has, but enough to pull back when need be is how he scored the victory. It's not over yet, but he's sitting in winner's side of Grand Finals, pushing Big Bird down to losers bracket. We'll have to fight the winner between GTR and Fandroid.
And that's going to be pretty interesting as well. You know, GTR had been pretty much pretty close to taking down Big Bird prior on the winner's side, but now we potentially get the double jeopardy situation, which is kind of reminiscent of last year's CPT Middle East qualifiers. But he has to get through Fandroid first, and he has a lot to say, especially with the way he's been piloting Luke. Again, we talked about this earlier. There's not a lot of players that could pilot Luke in the way that some of these players have. And Fandroid, again, finding a lot of success from his run in the loser side of top 8, I gotta say, has been pretty impressive. GTR also starting to acclimate himself to the aura that he wants to play at, right? At the potential that he's been bringing to the table. So we'll see it. And also both age 31, that's pretty cool. But we do have the representation of the UAE coming in from GTR, as well as the representation for Kuwait coming in from Fandroid. A good amount of not only, you know, character diversity, as well as, you know, the representation of their region. So really, really excited to see how this plays out. As much as I am a fan of GTR, I am starting to become even more of a fan of Fandroid. Just the wait.
Yeah, you meant that. You meant that.
Like, I didn't mean to do that, but I am impressed with his gameplay overall. I think, you know, as many Lukes as we've studied overall, I think the way that he pilots this character against a lot of the matchups he's had has been pretty up there and very entertaining to watch.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's very stable, very sturdy. I like to see that from Luke players, you know, having those confirms when need be, but also having a very studied game plan, because I feel like a lot of people pick up Luke and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to win with the character, and let him just do what he does as a character, but you can't do that now in the lighter life cycle of Street Fighter V, and you see that right here as GTR gets the medium against that crouching mini kick.
That was actually a very sick counter poke. I don't even know if that was like I think that was like a split second counter poke. I don't think that was a whiff punish from GTR. I have to look at that again, but that was super sick.
Okay, to the corner. V shifts away from danger. EX activation either way. Hold this knuckle sandwich. Did I get to him again? No. Just breakfast. No dessert.
A little bit too early for that sugar rush, but I'll tell you what, right now, Fandroid looking to rush him down. GTR getting peppered in with a couple of normals now with a thermal barrack. He can't take any of the V triggers. Yeah, keep it safe. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. You were talking about that before. Utilizing the V bar for something different with it. It's not always a bad idea. One more hit. The way to pay. Oh, GTR.
So we talk about being able to navigate past thermal barrack. You got to utilize that V shift as well. Get yourself invulnerable to the projectile. That's going to be a big trade-off for GTR. But overall, like, you know, we've seen some of the big weaknesses of thermal barrack, being vulnerable to some of like the movement V reversals too.
Right.
So, and just as I finished explaining that, GTR, he's applying a ton of damage. This is an exhibition. Throw in the towel. He's supposed to be dead a while ago, but I gotta say, GTR not being able to capitalize completely yet.
Cross-cut DP in that right range. EX activation with the chaser for the Oki. Is not deterred by anything that might be on a wake-up. Back medium for plus frames, medium kick. Not going to go into the thermal barrack yet. Maybe afraid of that option, the V reversal will be shipped. One more hit to get
the... No way, man. Absolutely no way Fandroid is going to come back with a touch of life.
With all that bar at the bottom?
And not spending a single bar, man.
Then up there wasn't able to get the hit, but GTR is going to spin for that corner carry situation. And goes in for the Oki, not for the V-skill stock up. I like that. Saw him quick rise. Back to mid-screen.
Gets his home off of the low forward, getting the counter poke again. GTR finding success. Forward thrown out.
Recover time to anti-air. Now, if you're Fandroid, this is where you have to get your W. Don't let him activate when that V-bar gets going and flowing. Be careful how you put up thermal barrack. Can't do it raw.
Oh, yes, you can.
I guess you can. Oh, that could have been it. GTR had the bar for the super. Is he going to regret this?
Fandroid's a touch away, actually, from getting his own critical art, too.
The chip doesn't even need it. The air-to-air right there. GTR stays solid in the face of danger. After such a dominant round from Fandroid, especially when someone comes back from the brink like that, you're like, well, you're that guy. You're that guy. But GTR staying solid and taking the first one. But I like that it's still competitive. It's definitely down to the wire, as this first game has shown Let's see what the second one gives us.
I gotta say, man, from GTR too, we had one big explosive round from the second round, and still not being able to close it out. That's gotta be so tough. But I'm very glad to see him kind of recover from that mental rut, not being, not being intimidated by the big explosion that came from Luke. So Fandroid also doing a great job of keeping his wits about him. It's gonna be pretty much evened out now. Fandroid again counter swinging against GTR.
Didn't recover in time to get that punish. And again, but still the EX will get some distance, a little bit of gray life. Anti-air with the DP, puts him in the corner, knuckle sandwich. We're going for the medium. No, just going to wait a little bit to see if GTR was going to bust out. Fandroid sitting on bar for V-trigger.
I like that option for GTR, knowing full well Fandroid was complacent when using medium kicks as a spacing tool. Now it's time for bullet hell. Can't get past it yet. Yago Dama set up. Yes, sir. EX.
Takes him down with a lot of balls. Oh,
that
hit
was
the crouching
sick.
medium punch. You thought it was over? No, sir. Not that distance. The extinction to get the W. And the command grab to seal it. GTR locking him down in the corner. Jail, no bail.
That is a classic case of testing somebody's fundamentals, right? GTR throwing out the crouching medium punch just outside of Fandroid's whiff punish and range. But still, the Tengu Stones are still going to follow through no matter what.
And speaking about whip punish range, he's still outside the crouching kick distance, but that allows Fandroid to dash in. Gets a throw. GTR trying to, again, look for that crouching knee kick. He does get his. Not a lot of damage. We'll have to see like an EX to get that pushback. Anti-air with the crouch fears. Oro has some really weird anti-airs, but when they do hit, they hurt, as you see.
Jesus! I love seeing that anti-air as well. Even Broski felt that somewhere. He's like, his ears were ringing. He's like, what just happened? Somebody hit the anti-air that I've been trying to hit in a real match. Oh. GTR with a dominant exclamation of dominance. That is for sure.
Making this dog dine on some dirt. GTR up 2 games right here and feeling really dominant. I feel like just outside of like how he plays against the crouching medium kick and finds whip punishes, how he's able to stabilize himself, deny the jump ins, and make someone like Fandroid feel uncomfortable, who is such a stable Luke player. I have to really exemplify that. He is such a, not a risk taker in terms of, button presses and things like that, but GTR, it shows you how strong GTR is to make him be in that sort of situation. Game point.
Do you get the punish from Fandroid? GTR placing things where he doesn't, or he doesn't need to. Now it's Fandroid harassing with the crouching medium punch. Majority of the time, GTR has just been chilling. That is a big cash out from that gray life. Look at the amount of damage. Cross cut, you're dead.
Cash in, cash out.
Doesn't even need to charge the flash knuckle. That is just raw. Fandroid getting himself the first round. The first round in a long time, actually, getting that first exchange.
One more of this medium punch too. I like that because crouch medium kick has been getting whip punch and allowing GTR to swing the momentum. There it is. He's going to find it on hit at least right there. GTR has to find a button against his.
Oh, there we go. Winning it again. I think GTR tried to use movement as a defensive option. No delayed button here. Fandroid swung for the fences, and now it's going to be all GTR with the side switch. Watch out for the Tengu Stone.
Fandroid bite. Oh, he'll actually get a back though. Caught him walking back. And now, back off nice and safe. Feature off the table. All you need is a dab. A jab will do ya. And Fandroid still in the game.
You can never count him out. The way that he's been playing thus far, he's still keeping it as close as possible. 2-1. And I got to say, like in that last instance, I think he tried to walk up into the Tengu Stone to collect himself a little bit of that V gauge. He was just like one touch away from getting V trigger. Not that he needed it, but it was like, this would be nice to keep in my arsenal. But as it stands right now, I think there was the dominance being fired right back from the side of Fandroid against GTR, and most of it came via the crouching medium punch, right? Occupying that space where GTR would expect the low medium kick, and now GTR, he's starting to be a little bit more aggressive than the previous rounds.
Yeah, I think you have to turn him a little bit early. We've seen that you would have got that V-trigger hit. It wouldn't have did enough to seal the deal against Fandroid in that round. Nice whip punish against the DP, corner carry, and the Oki. This is good as GTR continues his pressure. Counter hit, not enough to do it. Oh, finish the job. Went for EX to seal it. Now Fandroid gets to live a little bit longer.
Yeah,
until
out of there. Yes, sir. That is a common strategy to go against the flash knuckle. You can't let them charge in for free, so long as you have V gauge.
Gotta pay the toll. And it's your health. GTR set point.
Ooh.
What up, Fierce? Into the counter hit. And again, going for that Oki. No setup shot with the B skill to make him drop.
That's so smart from Fandroid to jump out of there. There we go. Low forward exposed into EX. And now the chaser catching GTR. We see the throws come out as well. GTR being a little bit antsy on defense. What's to come out of this corner? He's buffering away at something.
He's going to get hit with the crouching medium kick. I understand it. And the side switch. This is so good for GTR. He's sitting on the verge of an activation. May not even need it.
Oh, the anti-air is there, but no, sir. Can't follow it afterward. Crush counter with the delayed crouching fierce. This should be more than enough damage. No, sir. He can't get it yet. One more touch.
B-shift. It's not that danger, but now Fandroid with the activation. One more hit will do it from GTR side. How is he going to be able to land it, or is Fandroid going to stay alive? And just a jab, a dab will do ya. Just a little bit to make you quit. GTR with the 3-1 against Fandroid.
And we get ourselves another situation for the run back. GTR making history repeat itself, having to face off against Big Bird for the second year in a row. Before we even get into that, Fandroid, again, putting up the fight of his life, just a little bit off the mark. I gotta say, he kept it as close as possible. It could have gone either way for damn sure with the way that he was playing and managing some of his resources too. I think there was a lot of dominance that came out, a lot of potential for that offense, but GTR keeping his wits about him and also testing the fundamentals of Fandroid. We see that last instance where he tested out whether Fandroid would flinch on the whiff crouching medium. The Techno Stones doing a lot of the talking too.
As well as the antis right there. I mean, he got more comfortable hitting out those mediums. They didn't always work, but when they did work, it was a lot of corner carry, a lot of damage, and staying solid in core situations. Yes, there were a lot of good sequences from Fandroid to stay solid, utilizing the crouching medium punch instead of the crouching medium kick, which is whip punish. But overall, GTR being solid everywhere on the screen against this character and utilizing V-shift. When oral players use V-shift and V-reversal, it means one of two things. Either they are pressured too much, or this is exactly what they want. At this high level, it's always going to be the latter. GTR moving on over Fandroid, getting to face Big Bird once again to get the win, and see who's going to be the loser side of things in grand finals.
And that's just the appetizer for the main course, really. GTR going through one Luke, and then another, and then having to do so again. We're going to see how this plays out in just a little bit. We've already established the big grand final spot for Angry Bird. We do see losers final down below with Big Bird and GTR coming up real soon.
But before that, we need y'all to take a step over to mobile and fight me out in a duel. In fact, the Street Fighter Duel, the Capcom authorized mobile game Street Fighter Duel, is now available for download in China with a global release coming soon. The epic legend is reborn on mobile. Download Street Fighter Duel now and let's fight each other and join the journey with millions of players to become the best fighter.
And one of the biggest things that puts a lot of things into context, or at least into place, in regards to how players have been performing around the world to get ourselves ready for the Capcom Pro Tour each and every weekend, or actually majority of the weekends per month. It's been the World Warrior, right? We've taken a look at the players from around the world with 26 events, which yields 26 regional champions. These events are happening monthly, right? We still have a couple more for each and every one of the regions listed, and also the tournament organizers that have been putting on for their region. Again, to check out all the details and for your chance to sign up and play with the big boys, CapcomProTour.com is where you need to go for the World Warrior events. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure to see all of these events coming to light and see some of these players come out from the woodwork and also give themselves a shot at greatness for the Capcom Cup. Again, this is the final year for Street Fighter V, and we're looking forward to seeing some of these players rise up. And I love using that term specifically because it's pretty much full closure, right? We get to see people rising up from Street Fighter V in the very beginning up until this point. We see so much support. We love it. We love seeing everybody get their spot in the limelight. Again, check it out, CapcomProTour.com for the World Warrior. As it stands right now, we still have plenty more games, or at least a couple more rounds to go before we get to crown our next champion that gets into the Capcom Cup. We're going to find that out real soon after this break.
Time to fight, time to fight. Never give up, we won't retreat. The ones who stand have turned to defeat. So fight, time to fight. Glory waits for those who fight. We unite, we are Street Fighters.
time to play. You gonna keep me waiting, babe? Such a lovely face. Stop, kid. You're killing me here. And only one of us is allowed to do the killing. If I go too far, please forgive me.
My name is Seth. Bow down before my cycle. It's time for trap. Show me everything. Download.
This will do.
You can't escape!
Welcome back to the CPT Middle East Top 8. We are in these final spots. 2 matches left to declare who is going to take this seat for Capcom Cup Pro Tour Finals. My name is St. Cole. I'm joined with Vicious. Are you ready? Are you ready to see who's going to get the victory?
You know, I've been ready. Actually, I've been looking forward to this kind of run back for a very long time. In fact, you know, we've talked about who are the prospects for the Middle East, right? The guys over at No Neutral have pretty much called it, right? Brian F. and Rob TB have been paying very close attention to all of the regions and have called it right majority of the time. This is the exact same 3 players from last year, right? We don't know the order just yet, but Angry Bird also in a very familiar position, right? Keeping it consistent. We're seeing if whether or not he has to, or he's going to be able to do the same and repeat those results. But as it stands right now, it's Big Bird versus GTR. Now, taking a look at the bracket, Big Bird had the run for his life, I feel like, against GTR. It could have gone either way. But now that GTR has been officially warmed up, I would say, like making his run into the loser side, I think this is going to, I'm going to just make a pretty bold prediction here.
Okay.
I think GTR might be able to take down Big Bird this year. He might be able to with the way he's been playing. He's been super on point. He had to play off against a bunch of Lukes. Big Bird had also feared GTR when we talked about his pregame quote. He's like, I don't want to get crouch medium punched to death, right? So he understands the risks that come behind facing off against a very potent Oro, let alone somebody he's faced off against for a good amount of time. We'll see who gets the better of who in this tournament.
I cannot wait to see this match. I think I can agree to that. GTR can't get the victory. I can see him getting that W because when it comes to Oro, it's not just about the V trigger. We saw the V shifts, we saw the V breaks, we saw the matchup knowledge against Luke. Obviously, Big Bird is a different sort of Luke. He's a very optimal Luke, so you have to adjust to that playstyle. However, I like that GTR is so ready and steady against his character overall, and I think that comes into play. We've seen previously with the V shift that we saw as a punish. We've seen him get these jump ins. Let's see who's going to get the win. Losers finals. Only one can fight Angry Bird.
Yeah, it's a different story from what we've seen last year, right? They had initially double jeopardied each other, but it was GTR who actually took that spot initially. So we'll see how this plays out. Ooh. We saw Big Bird actually try to uppercut his way through the fireball, but that wasn't the case this time. Instead, gets 2 back-to-back target combos, now a forward throw against GTR. Start to see the interruption too, the low forward, the exposure. Throw will do it as well. The back dash from GTR. He had the right read. Tried to press the button 2 times over, but Big Bird with the target combos, he's just been too oppressive. GTR cannot find a way to thread the needle nor break the offensive pressure.
Really at all. I mean, Big Bird make him fall by just getting this pressure over and over again off the target combo situation and being more aggressive than what we saw previously when they played in this same day. I like that. Big Bird already acclimating to how GTR would come through. You don't typically see that. Usually the loser is the one that does that. With punish off the backward and the EX knuckle. DP finisher. In the V skill, the suppressor. Oh, he caught him right in front of his face.
Jesus. Dominant performance from Big Bird. Kind of reminiscent of last year, right? We see the use of suppressor being way more potent in this round. More than ever, really. I don't think that we've seen suppressor land as many times in pretty much the majority of the rounds Big Bird has played, but it's starting to work on GTR. We're starting to see some of those button presses, and it's not the first time we've seen those tendencies from GTR, right? In previous matches, he's been susceptible to the throw bait, so we'll see what happens. If he decides to clean it up, he has to find a way to do it in a different manner.
Big Bird's really cleaning up the fact that GTR is going for these heavy kicks to interrupt the fireballs and looking out for that with the medium punch again. Less is more sometimes with this character in terms of loot. Crosscut, DP, you cannot leave for free. Pay the toll.
Fine. Yeah, he pays the toll. He's out of the corner though. Now he gets to control at least something, right? Bring himself back out to neutral. But Big Bird, he's been chasing him down.
Hot pursuit right here. Not even really that much afraid of the feature activation in the distance for the fireball. I love it. DP.
You know it.
Oh, one good EX fireball. Don't extend that crouching medium punch. You might get clipped with the EX fireball from Big Bird. He'll do it raw. The express reason for the DP.
My God.
From
EX
downtown.
DP too. That was so smart from Big Bird. Firing right out. EX for EX.
The mind connects. Big Bird with the 4-fear starter. And already off these fantastic round starts. Or would love to have a better round start. You'd like to not rely upon V-Trigger because you're not going to kill. But these next sequences will for Big Bird.
He had a hit too. GTR actually had the opener, but no confirm. But still, Big Bird, again, back-to-back victories. It's been nothing but the Bird in control. We've seen this right side of the stage, majority of the set thus far, and 2 back-to-back EX finishes. I got to say, man, it's looking very, very grim for GTR.
I didn't really think about the fact that, you know, Big Bird would be so ready for GTR again. Usually, again, it would be the opposite way. Like, I lost. If I get my run back, I'm definitely going to come back like that. However, the clapback is happening. Not even a clapback, just the advancement is happening from Big Bird. A lot more aggressive than we saw previously. Trying to go for the DP, and he is sitting on game point, already getting the counter hit and the corner carry. GTR, how will you survive?
He needs to think about that option. He needs to think about that answer and bring it out real soon because he's already stunned. Off the wall. Uppercut. Watch out for the suppressor. Oh, that would have killed too. No. Had he gone for the suppressor?
Risky boy. Bar at the bottom for Bird to enact some of that EX pressure. Doesn't even need to. He through. He can't dash in. Big Bird sitting down the barrel of a W. Set point. This is fast.
Oh, here we go. Oh, that would have been so sick. He could have got the Fujimura.
We're looking for the Fujimura.
The triple flash knuckle didn't happen. Luckily for GTR, it didn't happen. It's so tough. Yeah. Oh, we see Big Bird overextending. We saw the sweep. I don't know if he would have gone for trigger. I don't even know if he had it prior to that, but GTR making it. Oh, no! Do not tell me that was from GTR. Do not tell me that was from GTR. Please, for the love of God. I
want to see more.
I hope not.
Please, I want to see more.
That's unfortunate.
Please.
That's super unfortunate. Please. But as it stands right now, you know, GTR is he's currently under trial right now. We're going to see whether or not the disconnect was from him, because if it was, that'll be his tournament life. Big Bird, with or without the disconnection, I feel like, he's still going to be as dominant. I would love to see one more game, at least one more round from the side of GTR, but we're going to get that all settled and acclimated. I'd imagine it is a spectator issue. I think they might be playing it out still. We're going to get that official judgment calling in just a little bit. But as it stands right now, Big Bird in dominant fashion.
Very much
2-0 against GTR, right?
He was getting to the fireballs and finding risk and reward. He's like, listen, if I get hit with the fireball, that's no big deal. If I get that DP down, I go in for the dash situation and pressure you. And stay outside the distance for where GTR would like to occupy with standing heavy kick. Delete the fireballs off the table. He's like, you're looking for this option. Well, I'm looking to hit you with the medium punch and get for the Oki. And I like the less is more from Big Bird overall. A lot of aggression, but in terms of button presses and what he does, it's a lot of less is more. A lot of jabs here and there, a lot of pokes with the lights and the mediums. Nothing big until he gets those hit confirms. That's how I think you should play Luke, especially at a high level, if you want to be as super stable as possible. And he is so sturdy in this match right now.
And I'm glad you mentioned the hit confirms too, because there's a couple of hits that GTR had where Big Bird had actually stepped in within range of low medium kick, and there hasn't been a lot from the side of GTR to like really make Big Bird rethink those decisions, or at least rethink some of the movement he's been utilizing, right? I think, getting within that space of low medium kick should always be a pressure point or a threatening point from GTR. He just hasn't been able to capitalize it, which is why Big Bird is just like, all right, well, you haven't shown off your capabilities to hit confirm me into like big damage and make me scared of anything, so I'm just gonna keep moving forward. Right, which leads to like GTR. He's like, all right, well, I'm gonna try to do this again, which makes him susceptible to the things you were talking about, right? That's where the medium punch counter hits come into play. That's where the whiff punishes come into play from Big Bird, just because of the fact that GTR doesn't get those openings.
I mean, he's so not afraid of what GTR wants to do. Like, we saw him walk up throw when there was V-trigger at the bottom of the screen on GTR's side. That just shows me how dominant he is in the match, but only that, just how dominant he is in the mind of GTR. So to stay fine, you have to find the whiff punishes. You have to take these buttons off the table like you did previously against Fandroid. But it is difficult. I get it, because Big Bird is a different sort of Luke. I think Fandroid is a very stable Luke. No disrespect to him, but the results seem to be in. Let's see what we have here.
We're taking a look right now. We are going to get that replay from the last round, because nobody technically got booted from the lobby. I think there was just a slight error in the realm of CFN. It does happen. No sugarcoating it. But as it stands right now, nobody gets awarded the penalty because both players were technically still in the lobby. So it could have been a spectator issue. So I'm not too sure about the fine details, but that's exactly what we've been told, to be honest with you.
I love that quote. Read that, Vicious.
Fine. Vicious is the true professional, never will be phased. He's the shiny face of us, Cap. Well, I appreciate that, Adrian Denton, for the most part. I do appreciate the shininess, too. Thank you for taking notice of my skincare regimen. Big shout out to the person who's helped me out with that. But it's not about me, it's about the birds, right? We're taking a look at Big Bird thus far against GTR, the speeding bullet. We'll see him, whether or not he gets, speed bumped to oblivion. I gotta say, Big Bird has done a great job of pumping the brakes against GTR and preventing him from pressing any sort of buttons into neutral. So
that's right.
I want to know what happens when GTR is given another shot at life, right? We still get to play out that round. We still have to see who comes up pretty much out of the grimy territory that is playing off against Luke's. I'm talking about GTR for the most part.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out. Again, Big Bird, super dominant thus far. He's sitting at 2-0.
I want to see that same confidence from GTR that he had previously against Fandroid. The same sort of anti-Luke situations, V-shift, V-break, go for those things like that. Find those confirms and delete that crouching kick off the table. Make him have to play a different sort of way. Make him feel uncomfortable. And you could do that with Oro. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult than, Luke versus Oro in the other sort of way. But we saw that play. We saw that energy. We saw that before from GTR. He has to put it on the table. And I get that also there's not a lot of jumps that also come from the side of someone like Big Bird. He stays really solid on the ground.
Oh, yeah,
but
man.
on the ground, there's other things you can do. I feel like you got to be comfortable with your fireball spacing a little bit better, maybe back off a little bit, let the DPs whiff, hide behind some buttons. This all sounds easy on paper, and I'm not trying to make it sound easy on paper because Big Bird is a world-class player.
You're expressing the options.
But you express the options out here to make sure that you can fight back, because right now it's looking like it might be a wrap. But we'll have to see. We're going to jump back in the game real soon. We'll have to see if GTR does have those acclamations back up on the deck. If he's found some sort of better situation to delete this character off the table, the crouch meter kick, you got to take it off the table. That is one of the biggest party starters for Luke. He has to fight back. He's got to whip punish it.
Yeah, so as it stands right now, again, GTR, he's definitely shown off the capability. We've seen the utmost potential, right? He just got to follow through with it. I think one of the biggest intimidation factors is the fact that he's going up against somebody who he's played off against pretty much day in, day out. And it's not it's not like unknown territory for him, right? It's not going to be like a big secret. These guys do truly play against each other a good majority of the time. It just so happens that Big Bird has the better record, right? Well, we talked about earlier from the winner's side, even before we get to this position, it was an 80 to 20 difference in terms of the percentage, the win percentage from the side of Big Bird, right? So we see that kind of consistency from the Birds. But overall, I think, GTR has it within him to get some of these big confirms into juicy damage, right? There's a lot of volatility that could come from playing against an Oro, especially if they know what they're doing. And I've seen that from a good amount of players, or at least the main two for me is Broski and Brian F, right? There is a lot of volatility when it comes to those single hit confirms into big damage. So we'll see how it plays out. Looking forward to seeing how GTR pulls out the stops. Again, this is it. This is the final tournament run.
Yeah, I, again, would not like to have to see him run to the World Warrior events. I don't think anybody would like to have to do that because that's more games you have to play against people who have maybe got the download on you. Let's see what happens. Time out on the side of Big Bird. Let me see he's on set point and already getting a jump in, round start. Bad situation for GTR to be in.
And it did ice both players. Let's see if it actually takes an effect against someone like Big Bird or GTR. The cross-cut DP, keeping it steady. Oh, there we go.
As we like to see. Look for the normal fireball, not even the V-skill stock up, but I get it because Big Bird did quick rise. But here we go off the backboard. EX, corner care with the chaser. Always go for that option for the suppressor. Activation and the throw, that'll do it. Big Bird taking down GTR.
3-0.
3-0.
As much as I am a fan of Big Bird, and he knows it too, man, I'm also a fan of GTR. I love seeing his consistency and him pretty much playing outside the box of the norm, really taking to some of the funky characters, right? He had shown off that Gil from last year. He had shown off some of the capabilities of Ryu last year before we even saw these significant buffs. So big ups to him. I truly am really excited to see where the future of Street Fighter takes him because he's been putting on for his community for such a long time as both like a TO, like partially a TO, as well as a competitive player. So big ups to him. Looking forward to seeing how he performs in the future. As it stands right now, we do have a run back. Big Bird versus Angry Bird. This is pretty significant, right? Not only is there a spot at Capcom Cup here, but taking a look at the points from the World Warrior events, right? Angry Bird is currently sitting in first place with 190 points. Big Bird immediately at second place with 170. He's still within earshot of falling short to GTR, who has 125 points. There's only a couple of events left in the World Warrior spots for the Middle East.
True.
So this is very significant, right? If Angry Bird falls short against Big Bird, he will still have a very significant lead against the rest of the community for the World Warrior event. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out between the Birds.
Yeah, we'll see who has to resort to that option. When they have played the Slash and Dash World Warrior events, it's mostly been Angry Bird getting the W. He's been the one to get the win, except for I believe it was in August, where the W came through from Big Bird. So far, recently, at least this year, Angry Bird's kind of been the lead against his brother, at least in terms of the World Warrior events. Overall, when they play, though, if we speak about history, I think they've been pretty even. Maybe Angry Bird's been a little bit more in terms of getting the W's, at least recently, between the two. But again, these are two players that play each other so often, so consistently, that it's hard to hide, tech. It's hard to hide your intentions with the characters. So I'm sure that Big Bird has been watching Angry Bird playing with him. And he's like, okay, this is how you like to play. And the same goes for the other side of things. So you really have to bring something different with it. This is grand finals of the Middle East top 8. Someone will be solidified in that seat to play at Capcom Cup.
Representing themselves for the Middle East, this is the finale between the Birds. Only one can move on. The other has to win via World Warrior. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, game one, Angry Bird already off to a pretty significant detriment, actually, against Big Bird. A lot of the counter folks coming in and finding success, but now the big confirm off of the low forward against Big Bird. And speaking of low forward confirm, not as big a damage as we thought, but here we go. Still the counter pokes coming in, quick succession.
That could have been done. EXTB, either way. The cap. But I do like the fears coming through from Big Bird. I mean, he's looking for that crouch kick option, and that button seems to delete that off the table for a little bit. The reversal to stave off the plus frames, the activation. Oof.
And still the counter pokes coming in so effective from Big Bird, dashing out of the throw range. Angry Bird has a tough hill to climb. Unless he gets stuffed out first, that trigger no longer a threat. One might away, or actually make it two.
One light kicking you through. Off the crouching addition. Good stuff for Big Bird to route it back and not get caught like that with the back throw. Fantastic. And I like him turning it, but not enough to overextend and finding a button against that crouching kick who had been doing him dirty the entire time in the winners finals.
No confirms, but we do see it from Angry Bird off the low forward, really maximizing the capabilities here off of that single hit. Big Bird still looking for that low forward EX flash knuckle, unless he's saving meter intentionally.
Again, the poke game with the fireballs. EX gets the knockdown. Big Bird doesn't advance too far. So walk him down with the passing with the normals. Talking a lot more confidence in general. As soon as I say that, got caught with the 5-piece DP. Fade away and played. Nice shimmy. Again. We saw this move before. We saw this before.
What is that, like 4 times? 3-4 times in a row?
That's your brother. You gonna shimmy your brother like that?
Oh, yeah. I think I learned the hard way.
You gonna learn today.
You ever practice wrestling moves on your siblings, man, or your cousins? That's exactly what this is. Ooh. Ooh-wee.
Guns rising. Think we're going to be looking for an activation, maybe off a medium kick, but that's what Angry Bird's looking out for too as well. EX will find the hit confirm to stay solid. And the chaser and the throw. Knuckle sandwich.
I love that buffer standing light kick, preventing Angry Bird from moving forward, or at least trying to steal some position away. Or like towards Big Bird, I should say. Activation off of the fireball, big confirm. Critical arc. You're dead. You're hella dead, I think. Nope. Hold on. Hold on.
One touch away. Even with that lowered health this season. Oh! Nothing off of that. The target combo into the Oki. Gets the knockdown.
It's too far to continue the combo. Big Bird knew it.
Optimal. Optimal move.
My God, just run in front of his face like that. Angry Bird striking first blood here between the two. The battle of the brothers. Game number 1 going to Angry Bird. I gotta say, it was pretty damn close. We're starting to see the skill levels certainly match up to the degree of how they've both been performing pretty much this year in and outside of CPTs. These guys have been the most dominant players to come from the Middle East, and we're starting to see the potential of both being put to the test.
Dominant players in the Middle East, also dominant players in the world, to be honest. Top spot out here. DP to make him drop, did it raw in the back throw to put him in that corner position. Can Taylor May just put you in the corner, all these confirms and these throws and things like that? Trying to make it a wrap. Close range fireball. Ooh, did not activate. Big Bird. Fortunately, going to pay for that.
Now we see the fireballs coming in more into play. Angry Bird taking the initiative because of the fact that he's further out, but it's primarily because he has this life lead, right? Low forward into the DP again. Nice and easy. Walk back stutter step. Low forward exposed against Big Bird. Another round on the board for the Angry one.
Angry Bird looking breezy right now. And now the back heavy kick off the table with the crouching medium kick. I love these options from Angry Bird, not the turd, to use these buttons. They are getting stuffed, and that medium kick is getting stuffed like a turkey.
We can't be skipping Halloween, though. We see a lot of scary jump scares coming in from Angry Bird via the low medium kick, right? We got to get through. We're going to get it through 1 month at a time. Here we go. Angry Bird now firing away. We see a similar position with that life lead, throwing out some of the fireballs to check Big Bird. And now it's up to Big Bird to get it confirmed. But it's not going to be anywhere near that set roundhouse. He's going to get a little bit closer than that.
He's shifting the brakes. Does he a better way? And the fadeaway was able to the light kick, but we'll just get the DP either way. Angry Bird up 2 in the winner side of things. And you know what to do. Only needs 1 more to take this tournament.
He's trying to finish things up quickly. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a sense of urgency from the side of Big Bird, more so from Angry Bird. Like, we see him kind of running into some of these low medium kicks a lot, like majority of these matches, right? I wonder what it is about Angry Bird that's keeping Big Bird so, like, hypnotized by his placement, like, or his movement, right? Like, Big Bird is thinking, oh, I can move on in here, but he's getting clipped so many times moving forward.
This could be it. Angry Bird feeling real confident. Big Bird, I can go back to that style where he slowly routes up the momentum. He goes for the punish. I love that from Angry Bird. Bringing that butt off the table and another confirm into the DP. Back throw.
Now he gets to play the life lead again. Yeah, resetting the timing for the fireball. I do like that from Big Bird, but now he gets himself stuck in this corner. Low forward fireball, nice and easy. There's the bigger confirm from Angry Bird. Forward throw. Watch out now.
Stutter step with the Lion Breaker. Wants to find that on-hit situation. Backs up. Looking for that activation. Fears.
He can get a whiff punish. Instead, a whiff punish comes from the side of Big Bird. Instead, eats a back throw as well. Here comes the Chaser allied to you. Man, Angry Bird. No fear in his heart, and I get it. Look at that. Tournament point on the line. Will Angry Bird succeed into getting to Capcom Cup for the 2nd year in a row?
He's definitely on track to do so. Look at how he plays. These ranges can be a punish. Heavy Tatsu. Yes, sir. The light one in the GP.
Jesus.
Corner carry. Things are getting scary.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's getting hairy. EXDB. Stuns rising.
Call the coroner. We might see a dead body early. Angry Bird looking forward to taking that spot into Capcom Cup with the way he's been playing. Sweep with a whip punish. Back dash from Big Bird preventing the throw.
Careful now. He's confirmed DP. Can't let that fly for free. Nice interruption from Angry Bird.
Uh-oh.
Counter.
Seeing signs of life. Big Bird. Don't call him out yet.
EXDP. Angry Bird is going to take CPT Middle East.
Angry Bird is truly your champion again, taking it down against Big Bird in a very convincing fashion. 3-0 again.
Again
and again. Jesus. Yo, Angry Bird showing complete dominance. Who is the superior bird? It truly is the Angry Bird. Let's take a look at the replay, man. There's a lot to be said about it, right? I think majority of the time, Angry Bird has kept Big Bird within that low medium kick range, and Big Bird has been trying to, get himself to block, like walk and block a lot of these things, but it's so difficult to do because it's at a flash, really. That low medium kick is so fast.
It's so nasty. And then he's got the other buttons too. Standing light kick, fierce and things like that. And the corner carry, he makes the most of these situations as much as possible. And then he puts the other buttons on the table. Beat shifting also, utilizing the new mechanics of this game to get punishes, to keep him outside the corner, where Luke left to harass with medium kick, medium punch, and things like that. Man, Angry Bird shoring up his gameplay, making it a lot better. What we've seen from years upon years, still keeping that same sort of energy with that aggression, but also scaling back when need be and being defensive when need be. This is the Angry Bird we love to see.
Oh my God. And again, Angry Bird pretty much showing out all the stops. I gotta say, man, there have been so many instances where Angry Bird, it was completely unpredictable on Wake Up. But even outside of that, right, the neutral game has just been so potent, right? You're looking for the 101 breakdown of how to play Ken. This is it right here. Angry Bird, definitely one of the prime examples on how to play Ken to face off against the Luke matchup, which you'll be facing a lot of in the main streets of rank. That is guaranteed. But as it stands right now, again, on a professional level, Angry Bird is the primary example of excellence. I gotta say, man, he's been super consistent throughout the year, even like years prior, right? I think we started to really see his breakout performances starting at the end of 18, going into 2019. He's just been such an excellent player and professional year in and year out. Same could be said with Big Bird as well. It takes iron to sharpen iron. That is truly the saying, because these guys have been extremely dominant throughout the years, and it's always excellent to see this showing from the Middle East. Big ups to everybody that's been a part of Top 8 as well as Top 16, and even so throughout the entirety of this Middle East qualifier. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Angry Bird is your champion.
Definitely need to look at him to see how to play Ken. If you want to play more Ken, there's another game you can play. Fighter Duel. You can definitely be playing that. Mobile game is a Capcom authorized mobile game. Street Fighter Duel is now available to download in China with a global release coming soon. The epic legend is reborn on mobile. Download Street Fighter Duel now and let's fight for each other and join the journey of millions of players to become the best fighter.
And hey, guess what? We still have more ways to get into Capcom Cup for some of these players, actually, in a different kind of way, right? The Street Fighter League happening every single Friday for the U.S., and this one's going to be a banger. That is guaranteed. Red Bruiser has been showing up as the new kids on the block, pretty much dominating some of the more established teams. They're going up against the young guns, that is CLG. And of course, it's Return of the Duel from Team Endemic going up against a newly reformed UYU. Unintentional bars, but that's what you could expect from Street Fighter League week number 5 coming your way this Friday, November 4th, 4 p.m. Pacific Domestic Time. Without, of course, mentioning, we got to say, each and every one of these Street Fighter Leagues has been jam-packed and super exciting to even watch like the VODs over. But we also have that extended with the European Street Fighter League, as well as Japan's Street Fighter League with, of course, yours truly, Saint Cola, and myself throwing it down. But big shout-outs to the folks across the pond. We got Logan Sama, F-Word, and Jammer throwing it down with all the teams from the EU. You cannot miss that happening over on, I believe Mondays as well. And then, of course, the Japan Street Fighter League happening on Tuesdays and Fridays. I always have to think about that. I looked over to Seikola, I'm like, wait, is that right? Because it used to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. It switches up from time to time. But as it stands right now, you do not want to miss Street Fighter League. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been the conclusion of the Middle East for the Capcom Pro Tour, but we still have a lot more to go through to give the spotlight and the roses where they're deserved for all of these players that have participated. But let's go ahead and take the time out real quick for a quick break to get back to hopefully our winner interview with Angry Bird, our champion, after this break.
Time to fight, time to fight. Never give up, we won't retreat. The ones who stand have turned to defeat. So fight, time to fight. Glory waits for those who fight. We unite, we are street fighters.
When you go looking for strength, it's not like a game. This journey doesn't have a real ending. Okay then, hope you're ready to begin. If you want to start off on the right foot in this city, hit the streets.
Yeah, hey there, I do this. Never feel loose. And when I get up in the game, y'all be improved. A real problem, but I solve them all face proof. And if you think I'm going forward, then you talking fool. Yeah, y'all wanna win, let me spin, boy. Or dunks aside, I'm super fly like I'm hanging off the rim, boy. I've been winning for my kinfolk, and I put on for my city from the intro. Fight! It started from the ground up, training getting wound up, channeling it in itself and moving up and down, crossing over, passing around, on the time to clock and keep score. 30 years I never thought I'd cross before. When I get out on my knees, I got it big in the deep. I feel like I'm on the road. It really has got me. Actions I went the wind, no good vibes. If you just let it get. I'm riding up scheming, riding and dreaming. Once I get the feeling,
The top player is here. Let me have some fun.
Ready? Then show me.
This will be a good fight.
if you wanna come and stand up to me, pull up on me now. If you wanna challenge to me, what you wanna call me now? I'm on the road to the top and I'm not looking back. I'm on the road to the top and I'm not looking back.
The winds have settled. The sand has settled as well. The Middle East has claimed their champion. It is indeed Angry Bird. Back-to-back champion at that. He's going into the Capcom Cup. Doesn't need to worry about the World Warrior events anymore. So, without further ado, obviously, my name is Vicious here with Sankola. And I do believe we have that winning interview with my guy, Angry Bird. Hopefully, we can get that going in just a little bit. But as you guys mentioned, there he is. I was waiting for the Swole Patrol to come by, man.
Yeah. What's up, brother?
My guys, how are you guys doing?
Doing well. It's always good to hear from you, and it's always good to see you, really. You know, I got to say, first and foremost, I apologize for following you so late on Twitter, by the way. It took me a long time, and I was like, I didn't realize I wasn't following this guy, so my apologies, bro.
Let me tell you something. Everyone who knows me, like, for real, even in the FGC, knows that I don't use Twitter much because I don't like to involve in this Twitter stuff. So I don't use Twitter much. So most of the people that I know and like actually interact with in real life, like some of them I haven't followed until recently. So it's not.
I feel you, bro. Yeah. First and foremost, you know, congratulations to you, man. You had such an excellent performance pretty much throughout the entirety of your run, not taking a single L, really. And I dig the property of the Iron Paradise shirt. I'm a big fan of The Rock. But anyways, all jokes aside, no, I mean, like, let's talk about it real quick. One of the biggest things is that Big Bird has been your training partner. That's no new story. But what was it about today that led to such a dominant performance? I feel like there was so much going your way in both winners finals and grand finals.
Okay, so let me tell you something. So I'll start off with my bracket against Volcano Russo first. So this was 3-0, right? But for him, he's not my training partner or anything. And like, you know, he's from Turkey, so it was a one-bar match. But I got used to it, so I'm a professional now, so I know how to deal with this kind of stuff. So even if he was up 2-0, I'll still win 3 games against him. So I was so confident that Rashid is going to open his style up easily with Luke. But against Big Bird, the case was different because he's my training partner. So let me tell you something. We always like, this is normal to us. Like some days he smokes me 3 sets, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. Like this is another day. Like, I was just lucky today. Yeah, that's basically it. So like 2 days ago, he was smoking me. Literally, I'm not joking. 2 days ago, he was destroying me, actually.
So it was back and forth with you. I want to ask, though, your
character
choices.
always like that.
So, brother,
my character choices.
Yeah, bro. You know, I'm a fan of the Zeku. Obviously, you know that's when we started talking and stuff like that.
Of course, man.
But I want to know what has led you to all of your character choices this year. Seeing the Ken, seeing sometimes the Rashid, and seeing sometimes the Luke, but also not as much Zeku. Like, what's your reasoning for your choices?
Luke. No, I don't play this character.
You're done with that. Okay.
Yeah, I will never play Luke.
Or so you say, but you know, other things lead me to suspect otherwise. But
yeah, so when Luke actually got announced, I got depressed because this character was too broken to fight against. And then Ken got buffed the other season, so I felt like he was able to fight him. So when he was able to fight him, I felt very good. So I was actually willing to pick him up. But since Ken was buffed, I was like, okay, I have Ken for Luke now. I don't need to play this character. So regarding the other choices, Zeku is always going to be there. Just, man, Zeku can never leave me, bro. I busted him out in Street Fighter League against Aiden. I always bring out the Zeku when I'm not feeling confident with my other characters. The Rashid, I learned Rashid, honestly, for the laggy matches. And he turned out to be very good, fitting my style. So my only concern with Rashid, I want to be good in these laggy matches, which I'm like facing. So Rashid is good in lag, and I learned him. And every laggy match, I just pick Rashid. And later on, I started picking him against Dalsim, against Falk, against these characters. I felt like his mobility is so good against these characters. So, and regarding the Ken and Zeku, I feel like Ken and Zeku are both the same characters, but Ken has a fireball and has an anti-air. That's the difference. They are both extremely offensive characters, but Ken have crouch media kick confirm, obviously. Ken is a confirm-based character, as you know. And people don't know that Zeku as well is a confirm-based character. You have to confirm stab medium punch, crouch media kick into V-trigger 2, V-trigger 1. You have to confirm a lot of stuff with Zeku, yeah. So they are both like technically the same, but Ken advances in the area of fireball game because he has a fireball and he has an anti-LDB.
Right.
Of course, I can play old Zeko, but when I play old Zeko, I lose the mobility, right, of young Zeko.
Right.
So when I can have a character that does the same thing all areas of the game, then why not pick him up?
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, it totally makes sense. Being able to have like a complete package at your fingertips at all times is way better than trying to like hedge your bets with going back and forth with young and old. So I totally, it's a very reasonable cause. So with that in mind, like you've been utilizing this, Ken, also in the World Warrior events. But granted, now that you've put yourself into the Capcom Cup, what happens now, right? I've talked about the phrase of iron sharpens iron. Are you still going to be entering some of these tournaments to prepare some of your other brothers in arms for what's the
I'm actually not sure still, but maybe I will pass on this one. I'm not sure, but I think I'll pass.
So my last question
I'll just be chilling and waiting for Big Bird to come join me in the cup.
Oh, I like that. Waiting for your brother to join you. But I want to know one thing. This is my biggest question right here. With all the players that you have seen through the World Warrior tournaments, through qualifying for CPT and stuff like that, who are the top 3 players that you want to fight?
In my region?
Anywhere, in any of the people that have qualified or that you see in the World Warrior events, who do you want to fight at the CPT finals?
Yeah, for example, Mr. Crimson. I'm a big fan of Mr. Crimson. I always like to play against him. Although I hate Dalton, but I like him as a person and as a player. I think he's amazing, and it's always fun playing against him. And of course, Ending Walker. Andy Walker is a young player and he's a new Ed. I think Ed is broken now. People are sleeping on him. But I think he's actually busted. I think Ed is so busted. That's my opinion. I haven't played I only played Ajax Fidelity. He's good too, but I think this character is busted, to be honest, Ed. So I'm looking forward to play against Ending Walker. I hope he makes it to the cup. And finally, my man Idom. I'm waiting for
Oh, yeah. Yes. I'm glad you didn't give out too many of the spoilers. You know, I know what you were hinting at, but I appreciate you, big dog. Not to keep you away from the weekly splits. I'm pretty sure you're going to go to the gym after this. But I got to ask you, man, this is your time to put on for your region, like any ending words to get yourself ready for Capcom Cup, or any big shout outs for the Middle East, for the United Arab Emirates, for any of the players that have been pretty much inspired by your gameplay today. This is your floor to say whatever it is you'd like to say.
Of course, I've spent most of my life here, so I'll always be supportive to this region and the players in here. I'll always be practicing with them, just trying to get them improved. And I think I've seen tremendous improvement in the level of the players here, especially GTR. Like, I have big respect for GTR because he's always grinding. Doesn't matter the result. To me, the result doesn't matter. But when I see someone is always grinding and trying his best to improve, that's when he gets like the most respect out of me. Even if he doesn't win and loses, but even like you have to put the hard work to be able to be good, right? Sooner or later you're gonna get the result. So don't worry about this. The hard work is important. And of course, I'm gonna give a shout out to the other players too. Aziz from Kuwait, and he got DQ'd this tournament because he was late, but he is actually an amazing player. And of course, Big Bird, you know it for sure. And lastly, the current player named Linku. I've been grinding with him a lot. So these guys, I'm just looking forward to playing with them also on Street Fighter VI.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear, to be honest with you. I've been really looking forward to seeing how you guys have been leveling up your region in anticipation for the new game. I can't wait to see your guys put your mind to tackling all the new mechanics and all the characters in general. So really excited, but we still got the big dance to see you at, and we're looking forward to it, man. Again, congratulations on your Capcom Cup.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Really looking forward to it, man.
To you, brother.
It's super sick. And again, the Middle East, it's been nothing but hot action for the most part. We're looking forward to seeing how buff he's going to be in terms of the character as well as physically. Yo, Angry Bird,
he's definitely worked up over the years.
Muscle up to you, man. Take care and be well. We're looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. All love to you guys, too. See you guys. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Angry Bird, of course, always putting on a show for everybody in a very quick fashion, too. Pretty much undefeated in his winner's run from the top 8. That's ridiculous, yo.
That is very dominant. But you know what? We got to give highlight and love to all the players that have come through. Not only top 16 spot, but everybody that has been putting on for the scene, playing Street Fighter V. But again, this CPT has shown all of you what the Middle East can do. Let's take a look at the bracket real quick and go down a little bit of what had happened. The top 16 had a lot of great competitors and things like that. The likes of Handful, the likes of Swan Song, the likes of players that I'm going to remember for a long time. And those scores did not detail what had happened in the matches. A lot of these were close, especially the one that had came through with Beam and things like that. So we see, as we move to the top 8s as well, Angry Bird fighting Volcano Russo, the likes of Big Bird and GTR. But even before that, Fandroid fighting Big Bird, as we just said, GTR fighting Linku. Very much closer than what the scores say on the screen.
And again, as you mentioned earlier with the top 16, or actually I talked about this at the top of the show, everybody you see right here in the winners quarterfinals were the same candidates going into top 8, right? But again, let's show love to the side on the losers of for the top 16 as well. If we could flip that just a little bit, thank you, producers. I gotta say, technical directors as well. Yo, man, big ups to Ice Candy, The Tormentor, Handful, JD Cooper, Swan Song, Broken Wing, Talu 150, as well as Tahul. Yo, man, this was y'all moment, and I gotta say, like, you guys did very, very well for yourselves. Big round of applause for those that have been tuning in and also participating. This is not the end of your show. Again, there's so much to look forward to with the future of Street Fighter, and I highly anticipate what you guys bring to the table going forward. We could flip it over to the top 8 and see how everybody progressed. Again, a couple of 3-0s on the board, but things got nitty-gritty down below. Well, Big Bird and GTR kind of set things off first with a 3-2. Then, of course, Bashar versus BeamTheGamer. That was also another very close match. Although it was a 3-0, there were a couple of rounds that went back and forth. But since then, it's been nonstop action, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen a lot of great variety in terms of the players, the characters, and things like that presented. And the difference between Angry Bird and Big Bird and the rest of the players is starting to get less and less. Even Angry Bird has said this too as well in a recent interview. So I like to see that heat, that energy from y'all out in the Middle East. Again, congratulations to Angry Bird, but all the players playing through and give some great action. And it's not through. It's not over yet. You still have the Warrior events to come through. There's still one more before the finals in December. So if you haven't signed up, now's your chance.
Also getting a good amount of cash in their pockets. Big Bird getting second, GTR with third, Fandroid getting fourth. Big ups to all of y'all again, top 4. And of course, Angry Bird making it into Capcom Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Middle East for the Capcom Pro Tour. I gotta say, there's plenty more to look forward to. Again, we've talked about the registration closing pretty much today. It is October the 30th. We have the Asia East. Wow, I almost messed that up. I actually did mess it up. It is what it is. Asia East registration closes today. That stream's going to be happening next week. The pre-show with 12:30 a.m. Pacific time, as well as the stream happening at 1 a.m. on the dot. You don't want to miss it. I do believe that's going to be Jick Ryan as well as Ringe piloting that ship. You do not want to miss it. It's going to be Asia East. It's going to be a lot of action. Check it down below. Capcom.us/AE. For you guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Vicious here with St. Cola. Any closing thoughts, my man?
All I'm going to say is thank you so much to V/Slash for putting on for the scene once again. Y'all, I see y'all out there making sure that Street Fighter V is staying alive, and I can't wait to see what you do for Street Fighter VI. But besides that, everyone, have a good night, stay safe, and I'll see you in the streets. Peace.